learned about Heidi.
But cockroaches were the least of her problems. Heidi had to fight for every opportunity.
You know, Heidi is, even though she's very kind of sweet and innocent.
Heidi wanted out of the slum, and her agent wasn't doing enough.
Oh my God, they moved Heidi right next to me now.
Although Heidi seems serene,
she's a bit naughty.
she uses an ancient folk remedy to help calm her down.
Heidi is back.
Happy hot Tuesday, everybody. Heidi Glaus here with Josh Gilbert. We've got Joe Davis over on the board. Bob is a little under the weather, so we said stay home. We do not want a summer cold, but we are going to continue without him. We've got a lot to get to. First up, we're going to talk to Jordana Miller. She's a correspondent for ABC in Jerusalem. Iran apparently shot down that U.S. helicopter. At least that's what President Trump is saying. And now he is saying that we will retaliate. So we'll find out what Jordana knows about that situation. Then a little later in the 3 o'clock, we'll talk to the ABC News investigative unit, Jared Kofsky. And it looks like Graham Plattner is looking to be the Democrat nominee in the main primary today. But of course, there are several people kind of coming forward and saying there's some things here in his background that aren't so appealing. So we'll get the latest on that. In the 4 o'clock, we'll talk to a professor at the University of Texas and the head of the Texas Politics Project. It looks like people could be moving in and moving out because of politics. I don't know about you guys. I don't always agree with things here in the Show Me State, but I've never considered moving because of that. So we'll talk about that coming up in the 4 o'clock. We'll also check in with Alex Stone, who's covering Nick Reiner, trying to access his inheritance to pay for his legal fees. I don't know what the rules are when it comes to inheriting money from your parents who you took their lives.
And a lot of the times the law does not match common sense. So legally speaking, does he have access to this money, even though he's the one, allegedly, who they died by his hand? So this will be interesting to see what the ruling would be. I mean, point blank, first blush, he's not guilty yet.
No.
So if the money's being doled out, I can't imagine, though, with they probably had estate plans and all
had
stuff.
to.
It's going to take a while for all this stuff to even get sorted out, you know?
Well, it will be interesting, and we'll get Alex's report on that. We've got some other entertainment news, and then we'll wrap this show up with some randoms. You know, yesterday I told you a little bit about my trip out west, which was just fantastic, and I kind of keep reliving some of the things as I look back through pictures. But a couple of things that crossed my mind as we were going back through some stuff. A couple of signs that we saw that you do not see in and around St. Louis. Bear crossing.
Yep.
Snowmobile crossing.
Is there a little picture of a bear or a little picture of a snowmobile?
Yes. There's also I don't know if it's cowboy crossing, but a horse with a cowboy
on it.
Yeah. And then the one that was most concerning was pavement ends.
Oh.
As we are.
Does it give you in the next 2,000 feet?
No.
Or?
And all of a sudden, we looked at each other and we're like, what is happening here? And thankfully, it was gravel, and we didn't know how long it was going to be because it was a pretty busy road. So we would.
Was this one of our interstate highways?
It was a highway, not an interstate, but it was interesting as and it's slightly scary because I wasn't sure what we were running into.
On the cowboy crossing, did it say crossing or was it just a yellow
Sign with the cowboy. Yeah. So
open to interpretation, I guess.
Well,
if you took a test in Wyoming, do you think that's one of the signs that you have to know?
I think there are a lot of different signs. I'll tell you another thing that should be universal, but I have found in my 4,863 miles, very few people know how to use the acceleration lane. It is called the acceleration lane to speed up and get into the flow of traffic, not to hit your brakes and cruise kind of in. And what really kind of nailed this or put it in the forefront is throughout our entire time, one car did it so well.
Oh.
And both of us looked at each other and were like, now that's how you use the acceleration lane, because so many times, especially driving a 33-foot motorhome, if there's anything to my left, I can't get over and make room for somebody coming off the ramp. So
Now,
you either
yeah.
got to gun it and get in front of me, or you got to hit your brakes, because I can't.
Now, explain the acceleration lane.
That's when you're coming down the ramp and merging into the rest of traffic on the interstate.
So are you in the rig entering the highway?
I'm already on the highway. I'm talking about other people. But everybody who ever takes the acceleration lane, you're supposed to speed up and match the speed of traffic that you're joining. You're not supposed to be there pumping the brakes, and because then you're causing all kinds of issues, because that traffic can't necessarily slam on the brakes. Or, I mean, at least my rig does not stop on a dime.
Are people in Wyoming good drivers?
I think everybody did an okay job.
Did you have to lay on the horn? What does the horn in the RV
It's
sound
weak,
like?
and I actually have asked Marsha if we can replace it, because it sounds so weak for such a big rig.
Can you call Byerly and say,
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Warren, I'm ready for the upgrade.
Yeah, I definitely need the horn upgrade.
Yeah, the train whistle, the big
Something.
boat horn.
You know, it was funny. This has been years ago. We were looking at an RV, and we weren't even buying. We were just touring one. But it was kind of like a truck horn where you actually pulled the string.
Oh, yeah.
And Marsha loved it. I'm like, you're not even the one that drives to, she's like, but that's so cool to be able to reach up and, and it sounded like a truck. Yeah. Somebody said cowboy on a horse sign could be for horseback trail ride. I mean, I assumed it was that, and they could be crossing.
Is this one of them?
Yeah.
I just pulled up cowboy. This one right here?
It was the one. Yeah. It didn't say crossing. It was just
A
horse
picture of
with
a horse. Yeah, maybe it is for trails, because Bob's not here. He's our Wild West expert. But do they still drive cows, from Texas up to, Dodge City?
Yeah.
Or are they still driving cattle from Wyoming down to Denver to be loaded up on trains, or is that just a thing of the past?
Well, speaking of loading up, one of the things that I kind of forgot, because we had never been to Seattle, we've only seen the kind of skyline on Grey's Anatomy every week.
Of course, for the last 25 years.
Yes. The shipping yards and how many big boats are coming out of there, and all the containers. You forget, we're used to the trains and the river, but to see that was kind of eye-opening.
I actually thought it was kind of weird. Last week we talked with Eric Seamers. He's actually off today. Business Journal segment's normally today at 4:20, but he's off on vacation, heading down to Destin. So happy vacation to him.
Yeah.
Just the season for vacations. But we talked about that Gateway South project that is supposed to be being built down just south of the Arch.
And
where
it has been, it's still in progress, but it's been scaled back.
there was a fire
Yeah.
in one of the buildings. The project has been scaled back a little bit, but I was wondering why we don't have more shipping on our riverfront. Like I don't see any loaders and unloaders.
There's a lot of grain along the River.
Is it on this side or is it on the Illinois side?
Well, in southeast Missouri, it was on the Missouri side, but I think it goes back and forth depending on what you're shipping.
Maybe I'm just, I don't go down far enough.
You do not.
Maybe there's in Limay or on the river down there.
Well, it's throughout. I mean, if you would go down and take one of the tours on the riverboats, you see
where all of it is.
And even a little bit further, I guess, north on the Mississippi, there's several different places where barges will load up.
But there, you go to L.A. and you drive up the one, through Orange County into Los Angeles County, and you see all of the shipping containers.
Yeah, but we're not
that. We're not. We're not an import export.
And we're not. Yes, that's not international. I mean, maybe some of the things that we have are going internationally, but we're, at least in my experience, a lot of coal. Noranda was the aluminum plant in New Madrid County when I was growing up, and so that would go directly on the barges and set sail. I
just wonder, and again, things Josh doesn't know, are we a stop point? Do barges load and unload here in St. Louis?
There are some, yes. All you have to do is go down closer to even cross the bridge and look down both directions, and you'll see all kinds of barges waiting.
Yeah. You just got back from your trip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on a little trip next week, a little midweek trip.
To mid-Missouri?
To the Lake of the Ozarks. Okay. My brother just bought a new lake house, but they rent it out on the weekends, so we have to midweek it up to see the new place. Bob's going on a trip at the end of the month. He'll be gone for 2 weeks like you are. He's heading out west as well. But items that you must have when traveling. And the first one on this list, this was a writer. He's been to every country on earth except for one. I'm guessing that might be. So
we're talking international travel or we're talking road trip?
All travel.
Okay.
Portable power bank.
Oh.
Did you guys load up on that? I mean, you're going to a concert.
No.
You want to make sure that your phone doesn't run out of juice. We're going to Disney in the fall.
We have so many chargers in the RV, and we were always just steps away from the RV.
Even when you're out and about, you don't pack one. He also swears by a backpack instead of luggage. Just backpacks can.
I know our neighbors do that. I just need more. I can't fit it in a backpack, and we certainly could not have fit what we took for 2 weeks in a backpack.
Yeah, and we have a lot of foot traffic out here in Westport, outside the windows here. Come by and wave to us. But we used to have the Hickey College over here. I don't think that's there anymore. But you always see people walking through the hallways with backpacks. And somebody last week said, there's got to be a school around here with all these backpacks. And I said, no, that's business nowadays.
Oh, yeah. If we're on remote, I don't bring it in here. But if we're on a remote somewhere, I have my backpack with my laptop and all of my folders that I need to do the show. And at the other job, same thing. I always carried because I needed more stuff.
The messenger bag, the briefcase is dead.
Well, there might be a leather kind of strap that could look like a briefcase.
The box briefcase.
Okay.
You mean that you put it up?
Well, that was dead in 77.
And you open it up.
I don't know what year you're going back to.
Is that still a thing for those who work in business? We don't really work in business. But the leather messenger satchel bag.
I can still consider that a briefcase.
Purse.
I think that's a modern day briefcase.
Modern day briefcase.
Yeah.
But my wife works in corporate America, and she says it's all backpacks. Men in suits, women in suits, and they're all carrying backpacks now.
Well, they just are divided in different ways where you can put everything and kind of know where it is. Ladies will understand. It's like if you have one big purse and there's no pockets in it, you lose everything, can't find a thing in it. So you kind of need to have different pockets where you know where each thing is.
And when my wife said, "Can you get something out of my purse?"
Takes forever.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then I'm searching. I can't find it. And she said, "Well, it's in the pocket."
Yeah. Which pocket?
Yeah. And then a couple other things on here, but they end with earplugs for noisy hotels and city streets.
Yeah, not my jam either.
You don't really go to big cities when you guys are on vacation.
We just went to Seattle.
Well,
in the
RV. One stop. Most of your trip was
this trip, but we
kind of roughing it.
No, nothing was roughing it.
Well-
you have not looked at any pictures. Nothing was roughing it. But we've gone to New Orleans in the RV. We have gone to Nashville so many times in the RV. We've gone Ithaca, New York. We've gone to several big cities. We actually, Louisville, we've gone to Indianapolis a handful of times. So I would say most of the time we're going to big cities.
A lot of people complain that when they get their hotel room, they're next to the elevator, and that sound. I actually kind of like that sound. Like I don't have a
It's
sound.
like your white noise.
Yeah, but I'm going to check my sound machine when I get home and see if elevator's on there.
Yeah.
But 84126, what do you travel with? Since Heidi just got back and we're all planning vacations this summer, what do you not leave home without when you go on a trip?
My phone.
Well, yeah, but I'm going to start packing one of these external chargers that I can.
I have 3 of them and never take them anywhere.
Give me one. Give me one. I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but I just, by the time, 9 o'clock at night,
I will tell you, it's old
on red.
because I just upgraded and my phone went all day long and even playing podcast on it without being recharged, and I still had bars by 9 o'clock at night.
I don't think I have that old of a phone. It's got the new charger on it and everything. So I don't know. I'm just running dry quick.
Well, do you have a lot of apps open?
I don't think so. I just closed everything out just recently. So
Recently.
I'm running out of juice quick, so I'm going to have to get one of those chargers. Someone said attorneys still use old-fashioned briefcases.
Do they?
Is that true? Is that true? Someone wants to know, see, I'm not alone. How much was
You asked yesterday.
how much was the fuel on your trip?
It was about $2,400.
Oh!
But I mean, you plan for that. You know what you're getting into when you hit the road, and had done enough research. It's very interesting though, and we are at that age where when the diesel had ticked down, all of a sudden it was below $5. It was like we both almost cheered. So look at that, diesel's below $5. All right,
Isn't that why road trips are fun? Because even stupid stuff like that.
So many. I mean, we felt like kids a couple of times when we were counting signs for wall drug. I think we got up to 55 before we ended that little game. Somebody said, Heidi, can you explain the 3 classes of RVs and which type you have? Well, in motorhomes, there are 3 different classes. There's B, C, and A. A B looks a little bit more like a van. Sometimes they even call them a super B. Then a C is more of a middle size, and the A's almost look like a bus. And but they come in different sizes. Probably the smallest one, 30 feet, and then they go up to 45, maybe even 47. And we have a Class A that is 33 feet long. Somebody says they pack their own toilet paper, and the big battery packs are a must.
I pack toilet paper as well.
Why?
Well, number one, you can smash it, and then it kind of bounces back. Oh, I have allergies.
You're allergic to toilet paper?
Everything. No.
So you're packing toilet paper instead of Kleenexes?
Instead of Kleenexes. Because the Kleenex box is big, and then those little soft packs, there's only like 10 of them in there, I have an industrial-sized nose.
Okay, so when you go to Disney, you put your toilet paper in your wife's purse?
I will go to, probably before we even leave the hotel, I'll give a big stack of paper towels or napkins or whatever.
How is your nose not bright red and bleeding if you're using paper towels?
That's a really great question. Someone says pack baby wipes. You know what? I did, and then someone stole them out of my car last Thursday.
I will say that is the one thing I travel with.
The wet wipes?
Wet wipes always, especially if we're in a hotel because I'm wiping down everything.
Someone says St. Louis has a big container port, but it's a truck and trailer port. They say it's on McCausland, the container hub. I'll have to look for that. Where at on McCausland? And then someone else said my dad retired from Noranda.
I saw that.
How about that?
I wonder where you guys lived. A lot of people would travel in from like Sykeston or Portageville. Not everybody that worked at Noranda were in New Madrid. So it was a big Big deal, but it has since closed.
I have a question for you. I brought this up in the office, and Joe hasn't heard this. Joe's running the board today since Bob is out. Connor weighed in on it, but I have to ask, when you hear the phrase, it's all downhill from here, do you think that that's a bad thing? Like, nothing good's going to happen. It's all downhill from here. Or do you think it's a good thing? Like, we got the hard part out of the way, and it's all downhill from here.
I typically think you're at the top of the mountain. You've hit the best of the best. Like, I went to the gorge and went backstage and hung out with Winona, and nothing can be better than that.
Never going to get better than this.
No, and so it's all downhill. It might not be awful, but it's not going to be good as that.
Wasn't that when you turned 40, you got over the hill?
No, I think it's 50, isn't it?
Well, it's got to be 50.
Maybe
it's
60
now.
I just keep moving it.
Yeah, frankly. But wasn't that the whole point? You're over the hill, you're at the top, and then, it was all downhill from here. And now it's just doctor visits and you know what at the end. I always, I kind of use it interchangeably, but I always think of it as like a bicycle race.
Oh.
Like you're
coasting?
You climb to the top, and that's the hard part. And then once you get to it's all downhill from here. I don't even have to pedal. The wind's blowing in my hair.
Yeah, I
this
get
is the
that.
easy part. They took a poll of 2,000 people, and our linguist, you missed her last week. She was great. But 2 weeks ago, she is, I think she's on a somewhat of a book tour right now.
Well, she has her new book out. It came out in April.
She's not going to be able to join us tomorrow, but she will the following Wednesday. We could have brought this up to her. 87% think that it means things are getting worse. That, to your point,
it just can't be as good as it was.
There's nothing's as good as where I am now. The rest is downhill. Whereas 13% means things are getting easier. So as we head into traffic and see if traffic is downhill, still don't know what it means.
Well, it seems we're divided.
Yeah, 84126. Well, most people think it's getting worse. I want to know what the texters in St. Louis think. Is all downhill? When you use that phrase, is it a good thing or bad?
Yeah, and is traffic good or bad? What are you seeing, Captain Paul?
Well, I do see one bad thing, Heidi. It's a vehicle fire on 70 West past 370. It's blocking the two right lanes and causing stop-and-go traffic back to Zumbel. Estimated clearance time is 4 o'clock. 6455 East is heavy in East St. Louis between Illinois Route 3 and the King Bridge. 64 East is crowded from Illinois 111 to 157. And there's road work with lane closures on 6455 West between 64 and the Poplar Street Bridge. The ramps to Tudor, southbound Route 3, and the MLK Bridge are also closed. This traffic report is brought to you by the Rockwood School District. Are you looking for a new part-time or full-time job opportunity? Consider Rockwood School District with openings for custodians, cafeteria workers, and groundskeepers with great benefits, competitive pay, and flexible hours. Apply online at rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Somebody said they bring their own toilet paper because hotel toilet paper is awful. And I quickly replied, RV toilet paper is way worse. Now, you have to pick and choose, and some are worse than others, but it has to dissolve in that tank. And so it can't be what we use at home because you don't have quite the pressure and it's not going through the same kind of systems.
Is it thin?
Oh, it's very thin.
And is it not soft?
The
soft, public restroom toilet paper?
It's thinner than that.
Oh.
Like you got to really...
layer it up.
You got to layer it up. Something else in the RV, and I just said that we need some WD-40 just because when you open and close the windows, which thankfully we were able to sleep with the windows open every single night, but they kind of stick because you want to make sure that they're not rattling when you're going down the road. Now, you don't have to worry about that with your windows at your house, I guess, unless you have really old windows and a big wind comes and then you hear them rattle. And if that's the case, maybe it's time for new windows. And Window Depot USA of St. Louis is a perfect place to turn because really they know how to treat customers. And I don't know about you, but at 52 years old, for me, when I'm choosing a company that I want to work with, and if it's a project as big as replacing windows, I want a company that I can trust and rely on, and they're going to pick up my phone call and they're going to do whatever is right. And that's what Window Depot does. Jason and Angie grew up in St. Peter's, and they learned the value of helping others through their parents. Their parents were great role models, and their mom, they still, to this day, they want to treat customers like their mother would be treated. And I love that standard. The other thing that's great about Window Depot is they have a St. Louis location, but you also have that national kind of umbrella Window Depot network. And so that allows them to offer you basically triple pane performance at double pane pricing. You're going to get a better product for your money. And right now they have what we're calling the Heidi special, 60% off installation with low payment options or up to 0% interest for 60 months for qualified buyers, which is fantastic. So check out Window Depot USA of St. Louis. You can call them at 636-939-4800. That's 636-939-4800, or go online to windowdepotstl.com.
Mike Lippert here for Lisi Lumber, a family-owned company that's been serving the area since 1872. You've heard McGraw mention our knowledgeable staff, excellent customer service, and the best of woods. We're now producing and delivering custom prefabricated trellises, pavilions, and pergolas. Union-made, union-delivered. Homeowners and do-it-yourselfers are going to love these. Got an idea? Send a sketch and some dimensions and we'll take care of the rest. For the best of woods and prefabricated outdoor dreams, call Lisi Lumber 234-0105 or LisiLumber.com.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDRURYLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
It's Julie Buck along with Jeff Zufall, the senior tax strategist and wealth advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and of course the author of the #1 best-selling book on taxes called Keep What's Yours and Keeping What's Yours. Jeff, with the talk of the rising interest rates, now is the time for a tax strategy, don't you think?
Thanks, Julie. Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax reduction strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them manage the effects of inflation and rising interest rates to keep more of what they earn. We're celebrating 50 years helping small businesses grow and thrive by minimizing the financial risk to their businesses, reducing their tax liability, and growing their wealth using strategic tax planning. The Fed is hinting that inflation and interest rates will continue to rise in the months ahead. If you're relying upon investment advice from someone who isn't familiar with your tax strategy, and you feel like you might be paying more than your fair share in taxes, we can help.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. We are very busy buying, selling, and trading some very impressive luxury and performance vehicles. I have bought a lot of great cars and motorcycles from Big 550 listeners this month and need more. If you have a super clean performance or luxury vehicle, what about a very low-mile everyday car? Classic car? Pristine, hard-to-find motorcycle? Entire collection? I'm interested in buying if so. Hop on our site and submit your vehicle, MastercarsInc.com. We'll reach out right away. It's okay if you still owe money. We'll make the payoff on your behalf and cut a check for your equity. Very simple, all local, all face-to-face. We buy, sell, and trade every day.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Amioki Road in Granite City, or visit MastercarsInc.com to get more details. That's MastercarsInc.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
President Trump says that Iran shot down that U.S. helicopter and that we must respond. Jordana Miller, ABC News correspondent in Jerusalem, joins us with more on that story. What is your take on this?
Well, first of all, it's clear that the United States has to respond. I think President Trump is right on that. It looks like an Iranian drone attacked that U.S. Apache helicopter. Thank goodness the servicemen who ejected were located just a couple hours later by an American drone, unmanned drone, and brought to safety and brought to a U.S. naval vessel. They're in stable condition. They were moderately hurt, but obviously they weren't killed and they didn't go missing. And that's really important because that will determine Trump's response. If they'd been killed, God forbid, I think we'd see a massive U.S. response. But I think we're more likely to see, given the circumstances, a kind of limited, very targeted strike on Iran. Maybe it will be connected to their drone industry. Maybe it will be some of their radar systems or their ballistic missile launching pads along the Strait of Hormuz. What has threatened U.S. naval vessels not only during the war, but now during the ceasefire, especially. So I think we'll see a targeted strike, and probably nothing that will break the ceasefire and nothing that will really reignite the war.
Jordana, has Iran said anything about shooting down this helicopter? Have they taken responsibility?
So that's the strange part. Usually the Iranians are boasting everywhere that they shot down a plane, they shot down a drone. In this case, they didn't say anything about shooting that helicopter down until President Trump said, we've discovered the Iranians shot down that helicopter. And even then, the foreign minister, the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, he posted something on X, but he didn't, directly claim the attack. He said anybody in our space in Iran's airspace will face whether they're intentionally or not, they are not allowed to be in Iran's airspace. And what Iran is saying again and again and again is we control the Strait of Hormuz. We control the skies above the Strait of Hormuz, which, of course, is at odds with the president's position on the strait. He wants it reopened as it was before the war, free and safe for all vessels. So in a very coy way, maybe, the foreign minister was strongly hinting that they, in fact, did shoot down this helicopter because it was in Iranian space.
So this is coming on the heels of the president saying we're close, we're still very close to a deal. They've been saying that for, months now, I guess. But will this cause a massive setback, depending on what our response is? Are we looking at pushing this thing out even longer now?
I don't think so. I don't think the president or the Pentagon are going to choose a set of strikes or targets that will break the ceasefire or bring Iran back into a full-fledged war with the U.S. I think they're going to carefully pick a few targets and take them out in the same way that we've seen Iran and the U.S. exchange fire several times especially in the last few weeks. And the president keeps telling us that a deal is close. We're not really hearing the same thing from the Iranians. They seem to be saying there hasn't been a lot of progress lately, and they're still insisting on, control of the Strait of Hormuz, which is at odds with the U.S., and other issues. They're not committing to limiting their nuclear program in this framework deal. They want to kick that can down the road. And they're also demanding money be, either put into some kind of reparations fund, rebuilding fund, or to have sanctions lifted or unfreeze some of their assets. I mean, the Iranians are so desperate for cash that they're insisting on money up front from the U.S. in this first part of just to agree to a framework. And I think so far the president has wisely resisted offering that in these negotiations.
Since the limited internet access was returned to Iran, have we heard from people inside the country, regular people, and their take on what's going on?
We are beginning to hear from regular people in Iran. At ABC News, one of our reporters who speaks with Iranians, we're in the middle of writing a piece up about just how bad the economic situation is, where someone can spend, a quarter of their salary just buying cooking oil for their kitchen, right? The inflation is out of control, and people are really concerned. They can't feed their children. They can't buy medicine. Remember, Iran's economy was in free fall and in a lot of trouble before the war, before all of this. It was the economy and how much people were suffering under the economy that led to the protests in December, the end of December, beginning of January, right? Once they began in open air markets in Tehran, and then they grew and spread, and they took on, a lot of different political dimensions and other causes. But it began from the financial hardship of ordinary Iranians. They are suffering.
Yeah. Well, Jordana, we always appreciate your reports. Thank you so much. And as always, stay safe.
Thanks. Talk soon, guys.
Before you put your home on the market, before you have to pay money fixing it up to sell it, before you have to pay real estate commissions, call me. I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I will buy your home. Any property, any condition, anywhere, and always as is. Call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. You have nothing to lose when you call Robank Properties at 314-283-0867.
You know what I love? The Only Facial, a top-rated facial spa that only does facials. And they've got locations all over town, including Clayton, De Pere, Creve Coeur, Frontenac, St. Charles, Sunset Hills, U-City, Columbia, Springfield, Moe, Edwardsville, Illinois, and coming soon to Webster Groves and Cottleville. This facial specializes in one signature facial involving several steps that's customized to your unique skin type and concerns. but the focus is more on meaningful maintenance and real progress toward long-lasting, beautiful skin, regardless of your age or skin type. The Only Facial, $125, no tips, and no upsell. You will love this, and I'm sure there's one near you. Again, coming soon to Webster Groves and Cottleville. It's The Only Facial. You can find out more online at theonlyfacial.com.
Are you looking for a deck? I am. And you know who I turn to? Outdoor Living and Pat Leahy. They've been a sponsor for a long time, and they've done some other projects for me, but this one's the big one. It's going to have metal framing, composite decking, and when it's all said and done, he's going to put a 50-year warranty on it. Not because I'm his spokesperson for all these years, but because I am a customer. Outdoor Living takes care of St. Louis. So if you're looking for a deck that will survive the heat and the winter and the sun and everything else, Outdoor Living, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. Outdoor Living or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Ask any designer and they'll tell you lighting is key. It's Heidi, and you can completely transform your home with Nora Lighting, which is available at my go-to store, Metro Lighting. From recessed to under cabinet lighting, Nora helps brighten every corner beautifully. Visit Metro Lighting St. Louis area showrooms to explore all the Nora Lighting solutions, or check them out online at metrolightingcenters.com.
What if every day felt like the weekend? At Innsbrook Resort, it can. Enjoy lakes, trails, golf, live music, family fun, and delicious on-site dining, all just outside St. Louis. Whether you're looking for the perfect getaway, a vacation home, a full-time residence, or a place to build your dream retreat, discover a lifestyle designed around relaxation, recreation, and connection. Learn more at innsbrook-resort.com.
Okay, you've decided you want to get away, you want to travel, you want to see the world. Let Altair Travel and Cruises handle all the details, you handle all the fun. You don't know where to stay, you don't have to worry about transfers, what about your luggage, what about a tour guide? You don't want a tour guide? Lewis and Clark had a tour guide. You're in a different country, you want to go see the Sistine Chapel, you're going to need a tour guide. Let Altair Travel handle all those details, you handle all the fun. 314-968-9600, Altair Travel or altairtravel.com.
My name is Dan Head, owner of Patriot Build Sunrooms and Luna Builds. This combination makes us unique in the market. Essentially, if you dream it, we can build it. From the highest level custom finishes to more user-friendly projects, our amazing craftsmen will make it a reality. Give us a call at 314-822-3232 or visit us at our Kirkwood showroom or online at patriotbuildsstl.com.
When you own a Patriot sunroom, you've got outdoor living.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
It is 9 minutes before 4 o'clock. Captain Paul, how's traffic?
Heidi, the latest is an accident on 270 South at Ladue Road with stop-and-go traffic back to Olive. 70 West is congested between 94 and Zumbel after a vehicle fire was cleared. In Eureka, 109 South is closed between Legends Parkway and Route W due to an accident, with bumper-to-bumper jam back to Augustine Road. 6455 East is heavy in East St. Louis between Illinois Route 3 and the King Bridge, and 64 East is congested from Illinois 111 to 157. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Today is the Maine Senate primary, and Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner is kind of plagued with some scandals. Can he still manage to be the nominee? Jared Kofsky, ABC News Investigative Unit, joins us with what he knows at this hour. Hey, Jared.
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So what exactly are the scandals that keep appearing with Plattner?
Well, it seems like Graham Plattner has kind of had one thing after another lately in terms of headlines, but a lot of it hasn't really fazed many of the voters in Maine. You know, it goes back to months ago when there were allegations involving a tattoo that he had. that many people said resembled a Nazi symbol. Plattner since had that tattoo removed. And then there were allegations that were published by both the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago. Those allegations were that Plattner's wife, Amy, had gone to his own campaign last year after he announced his run for office and told the campaign that her husband had sent sexually explicit texts to multiple women. And then after that, there was an article in the New York Times that was published last week that mentioned that some of Plattner's former girlfriends said that his actions could be intimidating and disturbing. But Plattner has, still been campaigning, and he said, yes, his wife had gone through something hard because of him and that there was a dark period of his life where he struggled with undiagnosed PTSD, but he feels that some characterizations against him are politically motivated.
So who is this guy, and what about him is so great that despite all of this, he's the one to go up in November?
He's definitely a unique candidate. It's hard to think of another Democrat who's quite like him. I mean, he's an oyster farmer on the coast of Maine up near Bar Harbor. He served in the Army. He was backed early on by more progressive Democrats like Elizabeth Warren and, other politicians like Bernie Sanders, both from New England, which gives, them a lot of name recognition in that neck of the woods. And a lot of people in Maine, when I was up there the other day, a lot of people were telling me they like that. They feel like he's someone different. They feel like he's someone who could take on the political establishment and that he's fighting wealth inequality. But a lot of people are concerned about these, scandals that have been raised about him. And I was talking to one voter in Portland, Maine, and she told me that, he might have so many skeletons that we don't even know about yet.
Mm-hmm. So his wife went to his own team, but they're still married?
They're still married. And actually, his wife, I just saw her on Friday. Graham Plattner did this farewell rally, to the farewell to the primary season up in Bar Harbor, Maine. And he, shouted out his wife in the audience, and she faced the audience and, shook her hand to the crowd. So they're still together. And his wife has defended Graham. She said, yes, that no marriage is perfect, but she wants to continue being married to Graham. But Graham Plattner's been with a number of women over the years. And that article I mentioned earlier from the New York Times that came out that mentioned that some of his former girlfriends had said his behavior could be intimidating and disturbing. Other women who Graham Plattner had been with, said he could be a great guy. And one of those women is actually in St. Louis. So, they quoted an article in the New York Times, this woman named Caroline Lemp, who's in her 30s. She lives in St. Louis. She said that Plattner was a great boyfriend. He was a very nice guy.
So this is the Democratic primary. Who's his challenger? With all these scandals, you would think that somebody would have capitalized on this.
It's a good question because right now it's almost like there isn't really a serious challenger. His main challenger had been Janet Mills, who's the current governor of Maine. She's 79 years old and was running for, first term in the Senate. And she had been doing a pretty hard-fought campaign against him, but she ultimately suspended her campaign at the end of April. That doesn't mean she's being removed from the ballot, so plenty of people might still show up to vote today in Maine and vote for Mills, but she hasn't campaigned in, more than a month. The poll numbers that Graham Plattner were having against her were overwhelming, and she said she just didn't have the financial support, even though she had been backed by prominent Democrats like Chuck Schumer. So it does seem right now that while there is, there's another Democrat who is on the ticket who is getting around 2 to 3% in the polls. Right now, it seems like it's very likely that Plattner is going to win tonight unless there's a major upset.
And if he does, who will he then face?
He's going to face Susan Collins. She's the longtime Republican senator for Maine. She's been in office for 30 years. She's an institution in Maine. And if you talk to a lot of voters, especially in more rural parts of Maine, they're big fans of Susan Collins. Some of them were telling me they see her in the supermarket. They feel like she knows their issues. But Democrats are really prioritizing this race because if Graham Plattner should be successful in November, control of the Senate could come down to this one race. Democrats are trying to get control over the Senate, and if Plattner wins in November, assuming he wins the primary tonight as well, there could be a Democratic majority in the Senate if Democrats have their way.
What do poll numbers look like in a Graham Plattner-Susan Collins race?
Right now, they're looking like they're in Plattner's favor. I mean, a number of the polls were saying recently, there was one from the University of New Hampshire that had Plattner around 4 points ahead of Collins. Obviously, it's very far out, and it's tough to determine. And some of these polls took place before some of the recent articles came out about Plattner, but it's been relatively consistent, even back when Janet Mills was in the race in the primary, when she was campaigning, that the general election odds were more in Plattner's favor than they had been in Janet Mills's favor. So it seems like when you talk to voters in Maine, they seem to be very, very impressed by Plattner. Certainly there are plenty who are not impressed by him, but there's enough people who like Plattner that it seems like they are exceeding the number of people who are upset by the scandals.
Well, there is never a dull day in politics. Jared, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
There's never a dull day in Springfield, Illinois either. And of course, you know about the Lincoln Museum, and it is a must. But there's also the Dana Thomas House, which is one of my favorites. This is a house that Frank Lloyd Wright built in 1902. It took until 1904, but it also has a lot of his furniture in it. It is really one of a kind and a must. But also, we got to talk about food. And Springfield is home to the Horseshoe. Now, if you do not know about the Horseshoe, let me tell you a little bit about it. One, it's one of the most filling sandwiches in the Midwest. Now, probably not the best thing for your diet, but you can splurge every once in a while. So here's what a Horseshoe is. You start out with 2 thick slices of toasted Texas toast. Then you top that with your choice of meat. Then you cover that with a heaping pile of crispy French fries.
Yes.
A heaping. So you've got Texas toast, French fries, meat, and then you drench it with a homemade, you ready? Cheese sauce. The signature dish can be found at most local restaurants who serve pub and American-style food. There's even a horseshoe trail in Springfield, Illinois that you should check out. Just make sure that you're hungry. You can plan your trip to Springfield, Illinois. Just go to visitspringfieldillinois.com.
Are you looking for a deck? I am. And you know who I turn to? Outdoor Living and Pat Leahy. They've been a sponsor for a long time, and they've done some other projects for me, but this one's the big one. It's going to have metal framing, composite decking, and when it's all said and done, he's going to put a 50-year warranty on it. Not because I'm his spokesperson for all these years, but because I am a customer. Outdoor Living takes care of St. Louis, so if you're looking for a deck that will survive the heat and the winter and the sun and everything else, Outdoor Living, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. Outdoor Living or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. President Trump is blaming Iran for this morning's downing of an Apache Army helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz. More from ABC's Karen Travers at the White House.
The president posted on social media that the 2 pilots involved were safe and uninjured, but he now says that the United States, quote, must of necessity respond to this attack. He does not get specific in his social media post, and the White House hasn't responded to our questions about this, about what he might do now against Iran because of this takedown of the helicopter.
A Texas jury deliberated 3 hours before finding teenager Carmelo Anthony guilty of murder. Jurors didn't buy his claim of self-defense in the stabbing of Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet last year. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer.
It's clear that the prosecution's closing argument, getting the last word, saying that swift justice needed to be met and that this was not self-defense. The idea of bringing a knife to a fist fight, the proportionality of the self-defense is too high. If someone attacks you with their fist, you're supposed to respond with your fist. If someone attacks you with deadly force, like a knife or a gun, you can do that, but you can't escalate it. And so what this verdict tells me is that the jury did not buy the self-defense claim. They thought that Carmelo Anthony escalated this too high and that he's guilty of murder.
They're voting today in primaries in 4 states. Control of the Senate could fall on Maine voters as they decide if they can overlook recent allegations about frontrunner Graham Plattner. The first 4 people on the next moon mission just got their orders.
We are returning to the moon, a grand adventure back to the lunar surface to build a moon base, and to do so for all of its scientific, its economic potential, and to master the skills for where we will inevitably go next.
The announcement from NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. The Artemis 3 crew includes 3 Americans and 1 Italian astronaut. They will dock with a moon module for an eventual boots down on the lunar surface. You're listening to ABC News.
Summer has a way of bringing people together. Backyard barbecues, open patios, sunlight filling your favorite rooms. It's the season when your home takes center stage, and if your windows or doors are showing their age, there's never been a better time to refresh the spaces you enjoy most. Imagine more natural light in your favorite rooms, a patio door that glides effortlessly, and a home that's ready for everything summer brings. That's the difference beautifully crafted replacement windows and doors can make, adding comfort, style, and lasting value to the place you love most. Right now, buy one window or door and get one window or door 40% off. Call now to see how affordable summer comfort and style can be with flexible financing options available. From the moment you schedule your appointment, you'll experience the attention to detail and world-class service that's helped make Renewal by Andersen one of the most trusted names in home improvement. Schedule your free window and door diagnosis by June 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyanderson.com today. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
90 degrees at 4:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. Juan Cox has been chosen to be the next chief of the St. Louis County Police Department. Cox joined the department in 1995 and has served as a deputy chief since 2024. He was officially sworn in today. The first heat advisory of the year remains in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. Meanwhile, the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have both issued public service announcements warning about extreme heat and heat indexes above 100 that are running through Thursday.
Extreme heat can lead to heat stroke, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, dehydration, and death. Anyone can be at risk, but some are more vulnerable, including pregnant women, people with heart or lung conditions, young children, older adults, athletes, and outdoor workers.
Missouri will be enforcing its hot weather rule through September the 30th. Utility companies are prohibited from disconnecting electric or natural gas service for non-payment if temperatures rise above 95 degrees or if the heat index exceeds 105. The recall effort against the mayor of Festus and several city council members has been struck down by the city council. The council voted last night against putting a recall of Mayor Sam Richards and 3 council members on the August ballot, despite the petitions being certified by the Jefferson County clerk. Those petitions were organized by Festus residents opposed to a data center project that was supported by Richards and the council members. The St. Charles County Council is considering a 6-month ban on new apartment complexes. The ban, which would apply to unincorporated areas, was discussed at last night's council meeting. A vote on the issue is expected in July. A longtime leader of a prominent St. Louis charity has died.
Longtime executive director for St. Louis Guns N' Hoses, Steve Hawley, has passed away. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence O'Toole, executive director of the Backstoppers, released the following statement, quote, I had the honor of knowing and working with Steve Hawley for decades. His impact and dedication to Backstoppers will be forever remembered and honored. This is a hard loss, but the heart and spirit of Steve will be with us in everything we do. Our mission was forever changed because of Steve Hawley, and we will always be eternally grateful for him, end quote. Now, there's no word on a cause of death. Hawley was 70 years old. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
And the city of Manchester will celebrate America 250 with a day-long event this weekend. It will include historical experiences, music, family activities, and fireworks. It will be held at Schroeder Park on Sunday. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. The Illinois Department of Revenue is offering remote retailers an opportunity to resolve past Illinois sales tax liabilities. The Amnesty Program forgives all interest and penalties and is available for remote retailers and businesses that sell to customers in Illinois but do not maintain a physical presence in the state. Now the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune into Straight Talk and Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. At close, the Dow up 84 points at 50,870, NASDAQ down 250 at 25,678, and the S&P 500 down 19 at 7,386. Now let's go to Paul for KTRS Sports and Traffic.
Steve, the Cards begin a series tonight with the Mets in New York. The Redbirds won 2 of 3 from the Mets back in the first week of the season. Tonight, Dustin May will take the hill against veteran right-hander Freddie Peralta. And SLU basketball had their first practice of the summer yesterday. Meanwhile, Mizzou head coach Dennis Gates and the Tigers will be in town on Wednesday for a camp at the Whitfield School. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. In Eureka, 109 South is closed between Legends Parkway and 44 due to an accident, with a bumper-to-bumper jam back to Route W. 270 South is crowded between Page and Olive. 44 West is slow between the King Bridge and 10th Street. 6455 West is heavy in East St. Louis between Illinois Route 3 and the King Bridge. And 64 East is congested from Illinois 111 to 157. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. Drive time can be hectic with traffic, weather, and fender benders. Dents Express can help with hassle-free dent removal, minor collision repair, and hail damage repair. Free evaluations, and they take care of the insurance paperwork. They've got 2 locations on Manchester and Baldwin and in St. Charles. Dents Express, STL.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our forecast calls for mostly clear skies tonight, an overnight low in the mid-70s. Highs on Wednesday and Thursday around 95. At 8 minutes past 4 o'clock, we have 90 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport with a heat index of 100. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
The Big 550 KTRS is your headquarters for the summer of soccer in St. Louis. Get scores and match previews with our daily CarShield Sportsplex World Cup updates, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri and Ragazzi's. Tune into the press box in the Big Sports Show to hear from local soccer dignitaries like Bill McDermott, Ty Keogh, Chris Klein, Mike Sorber, and many more. It's time for the USA to shine as our country hosts the World Cup for the first time in more than 30 years. It's the CarShield Sportsplex Summer of Soccer in St. Louis, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri and Ragazzi's. Also brought to you by WS Window and Door, Means Financial Group, Hackett Security, and HW Kia. Your home for the summer of soccer in St. Louis is on the Big 550 KTRS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our headlines for this Tuesday afternoon, June 9th. Drive-in movie theater listed for sale as turnkey business by third-generation owner. The closest operating drive-in movie theater to St. Louis is for sale for the first time in nearly 80 years of operation. The Skyview Drive-In, the long-running movie theater in Belleville, and its property have been listed for $975,000. The drive-in is along North Belt West and spans a little more than 13 acres. The seasonal drive-in, which the Bloomer family opened in 1949, is being marketed as a turnkey business that includes 2 movie screens, a concession stand, a ticket booth, and a playground area. It is currently operated by Steve Bloomer, the 3rd generation of his family. To be clear, the Skyview is not closing, but is instead seeking a buyer to continue its operations. The current owners are looking for the next great steward to carry on the drive-in's legacy, so movies will continue to be shown during the sale process. The sales listing indicates the owners intend to transfer both the real estate and the operating business, and states that the owner can reject offers and are only interested in offers for serious inquiries for continued theater operations only, no redevelopment. It also states the current ownership lovingly wishes to pass the torch to a buyer who will cherish this business and its community legacy as much as their family has. It's fun, completely entertaining, tremendously profitable, and a once-in-a-career investment opportunity. No timeline for a potential sale has been announced. At 14 miles from St. Louis, Skyview is the closest to the city among only 3 drive-in theaters that remain in operation in the broader region. You've got Route 66 Skyview Drive-In in Litchfield, Illinois, but that's about 55 miles away. Then you got Starlight Drive-In in Cadet, Missouri, and that's about 64 miles away. I've been to the Skyview probably 2-3 times, and it is such a fun experience.
I've been out there a couple of times, not since Finn has been born, but now that he's 5 and we're regularly going to the movies, this might be a really fun...
Yeah. Well, especially because you have the playground. And I thought that was one of the things that kind of felt like you were back in 1960, because before the movie even starts, you just hear the kids and see the kids playing and swinging and going around the merry-go-round. And then all of a sudden, the movie starts and everybody crawls into the car and gets comfortable and has their popcorn and their sodas. It's just, it's a fun kind of look back at Americana.
I've got a hatchback, and so we could probably set up a little bed back there. But a lot of people get the
chairs out,
the lawn chairs and everything. And
get yourself comfy.
The whole concession stand there. Next up on our list, I think next weekend is Toy Story 5.
Oh, that would be fun to see.
The Minion movie is out. And
well, they do double features all the time.
Yes, I know. And then
since Finn doesn't have a bedtime...
He stayed up till 10 last night. My wife said, it's summertime. I don't care. 10 is too late for a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then he saw a preview for Masters of the Universe. Jared Leto as Skeletor.
Is that scary?
And he said, Daddy, who's that guy? No, kids that age love stuff like that. Right, Joe?
Not me.
Yeah. So I might get to trick him into going to see Masters of the Universe. I can't imagine it's scary. Is it scary? Would it be scary? I don't think it's scary. I grew up on He-Man.
What is it rated? It's probably your first.
Joe, look that up. Joe's going to look it up.
Okay.
He's in the Google department today.
PG-13.
PG. Oh,
yeah, I
geez.
don't think that you can take your son.
All right. Buzzkill and Heidi. All right.
He's 5, not even 10. I might give you a little leeway if he was 12.
Okay. Skeletor looks cool, though. All right. Dan Sullivan is the incumbent senator in the state of Alaska. He is running against former Representative Mary Peltola. Dan Sullivan is a Republican, and Mary Peltola is the Democrat. Now, 3 days before the filing deadline in Alaska, a new challenger has entered the phrase. And he's also a Republican. They have one of these jungle primaries where it doesn't matter what your party affiliation is, as many people can run as possible. And they sort it out at the end. However, this new Republican challenger is also named Dan Sullivan.
Oh, boy. That's going to get confusing.
Dan J. Sullivan.
Are they related?
No, they're not related. This guy is a teacher. He worked with the Parks Department. He signed up right at the very end to run. And the incumbent, Dan Sullivan, is not very happy. He said his whole purpose of running is to confuse Alaskans, to make them think, Alaskan voters, that somehow he's me, so they could rig the vote in favor of Mary Peltola. He thinks that both Dan Sullivans are going to split the vote, and she's going to walk away with it. He goes on to say, when people are going, oh, there's 2 Dan Sullivans, isn't that funny? He said, no.
It's not.
It's cheating. And they're looking into the Democratic Party in that state to see if this guy really was put up to do this in order to split the vote or to trick Alaskan voters into voting for the wrong Sullivan. There's Dan S. and Dan J. However, Dan J. says that it's his grandfather's name. Mm-hmm. It's his father's name. It's his name. And people can read a voter information pamphlet and listen to the news, and they can figure out which one is which on their own.
I mean, honestly, there will be plenty of advertisements for this, and the voters are just going to have to be educated.
Wait a minute. Am I voting for Dan S. or Dan J? I forget.
Make notes.
I forget.
Yeah. You don't need to take note because you're feeling it. St. Louis's first heat wave is here, and it will be here through Thursday. It looks like today into Thursday, we're looking at 100 degrees or higher. And so this will be our first real heat of the summer season. Severe storms are expected on Thursday. A heat advisory has been issued for much of the area today through 10 p.m. And then that extends into tomorrow. And then Thursday afternoon, highs will remain in the lower 90s. So kind of crazy. And just make sure that you're drinking enough water and getting inside when you need to. Now, with that said, this is not the time that you want your air conditioner to go out. So that's why you need a great team behind you. And I got to tell you, Indoor Comfort Team Heating and Air Conditioning, they're a pretty great team. And I'm going to tell you a couple things that I love about them. One, they've been around since 1979. So they know what they're doing. They have the best techs. And the other thing that I love, not only are these smart men and women coming into your house, they're also neighbors. They live here. They've been in St. Louis. They know the St. Louis weather, and they know how your system is supposed to work through all of it. The other thing that I love is that Adam, the owner, he knows his clients by name. He shares his personal cell phone. He's taking calls at 11 o'clock at night because he doesn't want his friends, also known as his clients, to suffer through it. The other thing that I like, you're actually going to talk to a person when you call Indoor Comfort Team. Now that is becoming more and more unusual, and I love that they're still having people answer the phone. Not everything is always going to be perfect the first time around, but this is what else I love. Indoor Comfort Team finishes it perfectly. They care about every single job. Their team is small enough to care, but big enough to handle any job. You can reach Indoor Comfort Team at 314-894-8200. 314-894-8200. Write that number down because you do not want to be struggling to find that number if your air conditioning goes out. You can also find them online at indoorcomfortteam.com.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I was throwing a party for the twins and had custom invites and a banner printed at Staples. And that's when I saw Party City is now at Staples.
Party City? No way!
Yep. So now Staples has all your printing needs and everything you need for a party.
Everything times 2.
Yeah. And now at Staples, save 40% on custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, banners, and more.
Big news. Party City is now at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app. In 613. Exclusions apply.
I trust Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis to help improve my home when it matters most. It's not just Pella's high-quality windows and doors. It's the local experts who know the St. Louis area so well. For a limited time, get 20% off Pella projects or 0% no payments, no interest if paid in full within 24 months. Call 833-87-PELLA or visit Pella.com/radio to learn more. 833-87-PELLA or Pella.com/radio. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Julius Krasanik here, celebrating 54 years in this industry. My family owns Wholesale Siding Depot. That's WSDepot.com. Our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, and door experience. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
Tired of companies that like to apply pressure to sell you high-priced fiberglass or wood windows? We offer the Anderson Fibrex family of windows in styles and colors, including black, at wholesale prices. What are you waiting for? We sell truckloads of siding, windows, and doors from CertainTeed, Anderson, Viwinco, Provia, and other major brands, all at wholesale prices, while offering a free contractor referral service for your expert installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
Okay, you've decided you want to get away. You want to travel. You want to see the world. Let Altair Travel and Cruises handle all the details. You handle all the fun. You don't know where to stay. You don't have to worry about transfers. What about your luggage? What about a tour guide? You don't want a tour guide. Lewis and Clark had a tour guide. You're in a different country. You want to go see the Sistine Chapel. You're going to need a tour guide. Let Altair Travel handle all those details. You handle all the fun. 314-968-9600. Altair Travel or altairtravel.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, I don't always agree with the politics of Missouri, but I've never considered moving because of it. That's not the case in Texas. Jim Henson is a professor at the University of Texas and the head of the Texas Politics Project and joins us to explain what's going on. Thanks for making time for us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Glad to be with you.
So how many people are leaving or coming to Texas for the politics of the state?
Well, this is a much debated point here, and I think that on one hand, you have a lot of people that believe that folks are leaving California to come to Texas because the politics are more conservative in Texas, and that's what people want. But most of the census data that we get and most of the survey data that we are aware of tells us that usually people are moving for other reasons. They're moving for economic reasons. They're moving for family reasons. And where we see the sorting be a little more politically meaningful is where those people tend to move. Now, people that move from California to Texas tend to move to one of the big suburban or urban areas in the state. And I think that's where you begin to see a little bit more of the political kind of fallout on this, and that for the most part, younger, probably at least more socially liberal people are moving to the cities, and the more conservative folks are moving to the suburbs. The suburbs are growing faster than the cities, but it's hard to sort out with very much precision what's what there. But we know that it's happening, and we know that people are coming here in huge numbers. It's just not clear that their motivation is usually political.
Got it. And Jim, is this new, or is this something that's kind of been growing gradually?
Both. I mean, I think we've reached a threshold recently where people have been paying more attention to the politics of this in the last few years, particularly given, frankly, what's been going on in California. But Texas has been attracting a lot of migrants from other states for the last decade and a half, maybe even 2 decades. So this has been going on for a while, which means the debate that we're talking about has also been going on for a while, but without much clear resolution.
And you mentioned California and Texas, but are other states seeing something similar?
Well, other states are, also seeing net in-migration, particularly in what we call the Sun Belt here. If you go and, look at these southern and southwestern states, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas are big recipients of people that are leaving their states. But the interesting thing in all of these states is if you look at the Census Bureau, most of the population movement is within states. People are moving around in their own state before they decide to go to another state. And, there are also a lot of people leaving Texas as well. The net total is still more in-migration than out-migration, but there's a lot of people moving around. Part of it is the dynamic economies in the big Texas cities attract a lot of young people to come and work in very frequently tech and service industries. They stay for a while, but then, some number of them leave and move on to the next thing.
And speaking of in-state migration, with what's been going on in Texas, now you're with the University of Texas. You have the Texas Politics Project. You conduct multiple statewide polls throughout the years, and you have a pulse of what people are thinking and saying. With what's going on in Texas with redistricting, which kind of spurred the rest of the country to start redrawing their state maps, are you seeing people moving to be inside certain districts?
I think that's pretty unusual. We don't have much evidence of that. Now, I should say that Texas is one of the states where when you register to vote, you don't register your party identification. So it can be difficult to make really precise estimates of that, to be fair. But what I would say is that we're not seeing people chasing districts around. I mean, I think it's probably more the other way around. The district lines are being drawn based on where, on these regional and kind of micro-regional characteristics in order to capture populations. It's a natural problem with the process of redistricting that, the way you draw a map in year one may look pretty different by the time you get to year 8 or 9, which is adding just more fuel to the fire of this midterm redistricting movement.
And we had a conversation last week about Salina, Texas. Not only population-wise, per capita, is it the biggest growing city in America, percentage-wise, but it's got the most people that have moved there, and that's a suburb that's 50 miles north of Dallas. Are the growing suburbs changing the Texas political map?
Well, they are, and that those I would call those far out suburbs are really right on the cutting edge in most cases, including the example you're talking about of where the suburbs are meeting the rural areas, and people are chasing cheaper real estate and smaller communities in those outlying suburban/exurban areas. And that is affecting how these maps are getting drawn. It's affecting where political leaders kind of focus their attention because those areas do tend to be more Republican, more conservative, and therefore more the focus of the party that's in control in the state.
With the pulse that you have, you take it every year with these phone calls and the polls and everything. There's a big Texas senatorial election coming up in the midterms. Is Texas turning purple?
I don't think Texas is turning any more purple than it's been for a while, frankly. On one hand, there have always been more Democrats here than I think the results of elections and Texas's outside reputation as a red state than people, quite realize, particularly in the core urban areas. But I think one of the things that we're seeing in this election cycle is that Texas is still subject to national political currents. So on one hand, I think you have a very strong Republican hold on the state, but it's not so absolute that when we see trends like we're seeing now, or a contextual situation like this midterm election with a Republican in the White House, Republicans controlling state government, you've got a lot of motivated Democrats and some unhappy independents, and that tends to cause certain cycles to be more competitive. This year, probably the most competitive election since we've seen in 2018, which was pretty competitive, but in which Republicans made no statewide gains. They wind up losing some congressional seats, losing some legislative seats, but it didn't really endanger the Republican majority in any meaningful way. I think we're looking at a similar election like that, where you may see some very close races like that U.S. Senate race that you allude to between Ken Paxton and James Tallarico, be pretty close and cost a lot of money and require Republican candidates to be on their toes. But I'm not sure anybody's quite ready to say that the state is shifting colors, shall we say, in any meaningful way.
And that whole redistricting thing, you could probably say Texas kicked it off, and it's kind of taken root in a lot of states around the country, including here in Missouri. But when you talk to the people of Texas, that seems to be something that the government did. Are the people in Texas happy about that?
Well, I think that Republicans are pretty happy with it. Democrats are fairly unhappy with it. But to be perfectly honest with you, when you ask people how much attention they're paying to redistricting and how much they've heard, it's a little bit, it's not a top tier issue for your average person, particularly given the breadth and depth of concerns about the economy right now. So if you ask people about it, if they've heard of it, they pretty much just go to their partisan corner. And, Republicans much more likely to say it's fine and maybe a good thing, with Democrats much more likely to say, yeah, this is terrible and it shouldn't have happened. driven, I think, largely by partisanship rather than detailed opinions about the process of redistricting, which, when you come right down to it, is fairly complicated.
Yeah. As you study all of this, and as we mentioned, the head of the Texas Politics Project, do you see us ever kind of coming back to the middle instead of being so divided as red and blue?
Well, I mean, I think it's hard to see that happening in the short run. On one hand, when we ask people if they want political leaders to compromise, more people say they'd like them to compromise than stand on principle, but they also hold attitudes that are in conflict with that. And so right now, people in the abstract will say, I wish these people would compromise. But if you ask Republicans what they think of Democrats, they think Democrats are very often just beyond the pale. When you ask Democrats about Republicans, they think the same thing. So this dynamic of what we call negative partisanship, in which people's hostility towards the out party is so strong that it gets in the way of their other kind of preferences for things like more compromise in policy and more moderate policy. So we're in a little bit of a hole right now, and I don't know what gets us out of that, frankly.
Texas is a big state. There's a lot of cities, big cities, and then there's a lot of open land. Is Texas a microcosm of the country as a whole, or is it its own thing?
Well, you're going to get me in trouble with my Texan friends. I mean, look, on one hand, like a lot of states, Texas has a flavor and a history all of its own, but I do think that the patterns you see and the differences and the political attitudes in rural areas versus suburban areas versus urban areas is very much like the rest of the country. I mean, I think often the way I describe it is that, Texas is like the rest of the country, like the rest of America, just a little more so.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of a, politics plus here in terms of the degree of polarization and the kind of thorny political issues that we're trying to sort out in terms of conflicts between what's going on in the urban areas, what rural folks want, and then these suburban districts that are very much kind of in the middle of that. The big issue brewing here, like in other parts of the country, is data centers and where we should put them, and who wants them and who's not, and what the costs and benefits are.
Well, I have to say I got on the scale this morning. I shouldn't get on it as often as I do, but after working with Premier U, I can happily report I am 25 pounds down. At 5'2", 25 pounds is a big deal. And I tried everything. I tried those stupid drops where you eat 6,000 calories and then you put your body into starvation and you put these drops under your tongue. It didn't work. It was ridiculous. I tried to do the same thing that I had done in my 30s and 40s that kept me at a certain weight that I liked. It didn't work. And then I finally threw up my hands and said, I can't do this by myself, but I want to feel better. I want to be back to me. So I set up an appointment with Jordan Kimler at Premier U, and she went through my blood work, and she offered me a couple of supplements. Like, instead of getting on thyroid medication, because my thyroid was a little sluggish, it's a thyroid booster. It's just a supplement. And I got on magnesium, and I got on B12 and D and all of these supplements. And I also started using the weight loss drugs, and it has been life-changing. I'm not exaggerating in that at all. Premier U got me back to feeling like me again. I have more energy, I sleep better, and my clothes fit better. I'm more confident. It's no specific diet, no crazy difficult workout, just results. Yes, you're going to go for your walks. Yes, you're going to lift weight, because they also monitor your muscle mass. They want to make sure that you keep muscle mass and even build on that. You check in once a month and you kind of moderate what's going on. I have had so much success, and I know that you will too. Premier U has 2 locations. Both are super easy to get to. There's one in Swansea, Illinois. That's where I go. There's another one in South County. You can check them out online at premiertheletterumed.com or give them a call and set up that consultation at 618-750-LIFE. It is 4:37. Captain Paul, how's traffic?
Heidi, we have a problem in Eureka. 109 South is closed between Legends Parkway and Route W due to an accident, with a bumper-to-bumper jam back to Augustine Road. Elsewhere, 270 South is jammed from Olive down to Manchester. 44 West is congested from Shrewsbury to Elm and downtown between Tucker and 5564. 64 West is crowded from Tower Grove to Clayton Skinker, and 64 East is jammed from Illinois 111 to 157. This traffic report is brought to you by the Quarry at Crystal Springs Golf Course. The Quarry at Crystal Springs delivers a convenient and affordable golf course that is a true test of any player's game. 4 sets of tees will allow players of all abilities to choose the course length that best suits their enjoyment. Visit them today. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Summer has a way of bringing people together. Backyard barbecues, open patios, sunlight filling your favorite rooms. It's the season when your home takes center stage, and if your windows or doors are showing their age, there's never been a better time to refresh the spaces you enjoy most. Imagine more natural light in your favorite rooms, a patio door that glides effortlessly, and a home that's ready for everything summer brings. That's the difference beautifully crafted replacement windows and doors can make, adding comfort, style, and lasting value to the place you love most. Right now, buy one window or door and get one window or door 40% off. Call now to see how affordable summer comfort and style can be with flexible financing options available. From the moment you schedule your appointment, you'll experience the attention to detail and world-class service that's helped make Renewal by Andersen one of the most trusted names in home improvement. Schedule your free window and door diagnosis by June 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyanderson.com today. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I want your fixer-upper home. It's crazy to spend a ton of money fixing it up when I will pay you top dollar right now. I don't even care what condition it's in. Your trash is my treasure. No inspections, no contingencies, just cold, hard cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Mizzou football will be here before you know it. Join us for the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium with season tickets. Join the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist and get ready to lock in tickets for 2026. The home schedule is highlighted by games against Florida, Texas A&M, Texas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. Don't wait to reserve your spot. Join the waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Julius Krasanik here, celebrating 54 years in this industry. My family owns Wholesale Siding Depot. That's WSDepot.com. Our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, and door experience. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
Tired of companies that like to apply pressure to sell you high-priced fiberglass or wood windows? We offer the Andersen Fibrex family of windows in styles and colors, including black, at wholesale prices. What are you waiting for? We sell truckloads of siding, windows, and doors from Certainteed, Anderson, Viwinco, Provia, and other major brands, all at wholesale prices, while offering a free contractor referral service for your expert installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants, the cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at simplysecuredentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or simplysecuredentures.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again.
Well, Heidi, back in the day on this date, June 9th, 236 years ago, 1790, the first book was copyrighted in the United States. It was John Barry's Philadelphia Spelling Book.
Spelling book.
Nothing glamorous, but there's always got to be a first for something.
That's true.
92 years ago, 1934, Donald Duck made his debut in Disney's The Wise Little Hen.
92 years ago?
Donald Duck is 92 years old.
I mean, hanging on.
He still looks great.
Yeah, he does.
He looks 62 years old. I went to Disney right around this time a couple years ago, and I bought a Donald Duck stuffed animal for Finn, and kind of for me.
I was going to say, let's be honest.
He is my favorite. The lady behind the counter said, "Oh, and on his birthday, no less."
She knew.
And I said, "Oh, no, it's not my birthday." She goes, "No, it's Donald's." So I'm guessing they teach the staff when Mickey's birthday is.
Of course.
Today is Donald's. 53 years ago, Secretariat in 1973 won the Belmont Stakes to become the first Triple Crown winner in 25 years. 4 horses have done it since. Seattle Slew in 77, Affirmed in 78, American Pharaoh in 2015, and Justify in 2018. Do you remember those names?
I remember Justify.
Yeah. Let's see here. Lisa Left Eye Lopez of TLC set
burn
fire
that house
to Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Andre Rison's house. Apparently she lit his shoes on fire in a bathtub and things went downhill from there.
Yes, they did. Speaking of, did you see a lot of people weighed in and they said if things are going downhill, that's bad. If it's all downhill from here, it's good. So it's kind of a way that you phrase it. Depends on, somebody said all downhill from here. It depends on whether my brakes are in good shape or not.
I think reading some of these texts on 84126, I think more people are on my side in that downhill is a good thing, but it is on all and how you phrase it.
It is absolutely how you phrase it.
And then in 2017, Gene Simmons attempted to trademark the devil horns hand gesture, even though American Sign Languages uses it for I love you.
Devil horns.
They abandoned the application. This thing.
Why is that? I don't think it looks like devil horns.
Well, I mean, these would be the horns.
I know, but what's the thumb?
I don't know what the thumb is, but in sign language, it's I love you.
But it's called devil horns?
That's what Gene Simmons calls it.
Okay,
and he says that it's his. He wants to copyright everything. And that, on this date, June 9th, just a couple years ago, Gene Simmons.
I don't know what this date was, but as you can imagine, when snow melts in Colorado or different places where there are skiers, they have to find all kinds of interesting things. And so as snow melted at Breckenridge Ski Resort, employees uncovered kind of a surprising array of lost items. A gator skin hat. Now, to me, you want something a little warmer than that, but maybe a gator skin is warm.
Well, maybe that was from the après ski line.
Maybe.
Where after you went skiing, you got all dressed up.
They also found champagne, which I thought was unusual.
Again, après ski.
Now, this one should come as no surprise. Dozens of ski poles, IDs, ski passes, vapes, earbuds. I could never ski with headphones in. Don't you want to hear when somebody's saying, I'm coming?
Yeah, watch out. I don't even like to walk through the grocery store with headphones
Yeah, I
in.
don't either. If I'm on my walk, that's about the only time I really wear earbuds. Water bottles, beads, and several iPhones. That's unfortunate. They said its crews also found a single ski, a snowboard, I'm not sure how you get down, a GoPro, 50 pesos, $40 in cash, and some flip-flops. But I think your feet are going to be cold if you are walking around in flip-flops.
50 pesos. That's like less than a penny. How about this? 1 in 6 singles. We're not single anymore, Heidi.
We are not, and I'm happy about it.
Happily married. Survey of 1,000 single adults. 1 in 6 singles have said they haven't met a date offline for 2 years. Everything for the last 2 years, 1 in 6 people has been all online. They've met online.
I'm surprised it's not more than that.
I actually kind of am too. This is, what is 1 in 6? It's like 17% of people. 83% of people hoping to meet someone organically said that they lack confidence. And fear of rejection is at 53%, and 37% overall think that they have no game. They have they have no idea how to start a conversation. Now, for those of you who are single, I've got a list of things that you need to not take for granted.
Oh, okay.
That married people or people in relationships miss completely out on all of this stuff. Single people, you actually have something to live for, because you know that
I think that's being a little dramatic.
if you leave something in the refrigerator, you know it will be there when you come back.
Unless you have a roommate.
How many times have you gotten in trouble for eating Marcia's food?
Oh, once, and I never did it again. That was it.
Like another example, you know where the kitchen scissors will always be because no one else comes by and moves them.
Yeah, I'm going to say we do not move things.
Oh, things get moved all the time.
Things have a spot for us.
Never having to discuss your plans with anyone, never having to compromise on things like decor or style or colors or any of this.
I think this is lonely.
Binge watching TV shows without having to wait for the other person to catch up or be in the house to watch it together. Let's see here. Using the bath time anytime you want. Cooking a meal that lasts a few days. That's a lot of leftovers. The house temperature. Do you have a problem with that?
Mm-mm. And none of these are appealing.
And say, let's see here. And another one was just about food, never having to compromise on what you have for dinner. So there are some benefits.
Nope.
To being single.
Marcia cooks most of the time. She does the laundry all the time.
She's full-time laundry?
Full-time. She loves it. And then on the flip side, she doesn't like to vacuum or really clean too much, and I enjoy that.
How can I get my wife to start doing my laundry?
Be a little kinder to her. It's 10 minutes before 5, Captain Paul. Is traffic still kind of a mess?
Well, we have some good news from Eureka. 109 South is open again between Legends Parkway and Route W after being closed due to an accident, but there is a residual slowdown. 270 South is jammed from Olive down to Manchester. 6455 East is slow between Illinois Route 3 and the King Bridge. 44 West is congested between the King Bridge and Tucker. 64 West crowded from Tower Grove to McCausland, and 64 East is jammed from Illinois 111 to 157. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Interest rates and inflation continue to rise, and the Fed has hinted at more rate increases are coming. Hi, I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and the author of the #1 best-selling books on taxes, Keep What's Yours and Keeping What's Yours. Let us show you how strategic tax planning can protect your bottom line. Give us a call at 636-394-5524, or you can visit us on the web at capitaladvisorygrp.com. Again, the number is 636-394-5524. 888-5525.
One thing, I try to do is not think about all the money I have to spend. But sometimes it goes through your head and you think, I got to buy this, I got to spend money on that. But the money that you spent on your house is probably the biggest single purchase you've ever made. So it makes sense to protect it. And you know what? There might be things going on up top there on the roof that you can't see. Allen Roofing can. They don't even have to go up there. They could send some drones up to have a look, find out the problem, give a diagnosis, sit down with you and say, what shall we do from here to protect that asset of yours that you spent all that money on? It only makes sense, whether it's a roof, whether it's siding, tuck pointing, anything to do with the outside of your house. They will help you protect it. Find them online at aroofing.net.
Okay, you've decided you want to get away. You want to travel. You want to see the world. Let Altair Travel and Cruises handle all the details. You handle all the fun. You don't know where to stay. You don't have to worry about transfers. What about your luggage? What about a tour guide? You don't want a tour guide. Lewis and Clark had a tour guide. You're in a different country. You want to go see the Sistine Chapel. You're going to need a tour guide. Let Altair Travel handle all those details. You handle all the fun. 314-968-9600. Altair Travel or altairtravel.com.
St. Louis County Library and St. Louis Public Library are teaming up once again this summer to offer STL Summer Adventure. It's from June 1st to August 10th. The program invites kids and teens to go on an adventure with a variety of fun activities. Participants who complete any 10 activities will earn a prize. Everyone who signs up gets a free book at registration. Fun events will be offered throughout the summer featuring music, comedy, magic, science, experiments, and more. You can find all the info online at stlsummeradventure.org.
What if every day felt like the weekend? At Innsbrook Resort, it can. Enjoy lakes, trails, golf, live music, family fun, and delicious on-site dining, all just outside St. Louis. Whether you're looking for the perfect getaway, a vacation home, a full-time residence, or a place to build your dream retreat, discover a lifestyle designed around relaxation, recreation, and connection. Learn more at innsbrook-resort.com.
I'm Bob Hardcastle. Listen to my Money Talk radio program every Sunday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on the Big 550, where we discuss your money in an easy-to-understand manner. We have interesting guests, chat about money. We try to help you feel more comfortable with your money by talking about the investment market. Join me. I'm Bob Hardcastle.
Money Talk, Sunday morning at 8 on the Big 550 KTRS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, I don't know how the law works or how things kind of pan out when you have a trust fund or have been left money. But Nick Reiner now wants his trust money to hire back an attorney. Alex Stone, ABC News correspondent in L.A., joins us with that story. It's interesting, but not surprising.
Well, yeah, and basically Nick Reiner is saying there is an individual trust fund, not the overall family trust, that they're not trying to get any money out of, but this one that was set up when he was a baby, and his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, said when he was 30 years old that he would get 50% of whatever was in there. When he is 35, he would get the other 50%, and he's 32, and he never got the first 50%. So his civil attorneys are saying, hey, this was due to him 2 years ago, that this is his money. It is not his family's money any longer. It's not his parents' money. It is his. And really they're saying, but he should get the 100% of the money in there, even though he's not 35 yet, because he needs it for his criminal defense. That it's going to be his money anyway. He deserves it now. But this sheds light on what happened in January when Alan Jackson, his famed defense attorney who defended Karen Reed, withdrew from the case abruptly. He came outside court and told us this.
I had to withdraw as Nick Reiner's counsel.
circumstances beyond our control, but more importantly, circumstances beyond Nick's control.
And he wouldn't say why he couldn't represent Nick any longer, but in these court filings, it says that Nick's siblings cut him off, and he wasn't getting him money any longer, and they wouldn't give him any money to defend himself for allegedly killing their parents. So he's got a public defender now, but he's saying if the court will give him the money, at least some of the $1.5 million in the trust fund, that he can pay to bring back Alan Jackson, saying that he needs Jackson. And Jackson in these filings is saying that he's ready and willing to represent Nick Reiner again if there is money to pay him eventually to defend him. So it's going to be a fight in probate court separate than the criminal case that Nick Reiner is dealing with. But he's saying he needs money for his defense and just for everyday things in jail, that he has no money. So he's saying he needs it for socks and for a toothbrush and just some income since the family has completely cut him off.
Have they said why he didn't take the half 2 years ago? Did he opt not to take it, or was it not offered to him?
And
No,
I
apparently it
immediately
wasn't
thought,
offered to him. Yeah.
well, is that a motive?
Potentially, that may come up, and we don't know why it didn't go to him. If Rob and Michelle Reiner decided, because you can decide to withhold it if you think somebody's not competent to control that money, or if it just kind of didn't happen. You forget about it. It's like bonds that you have in the safe at home that your grandparents gave you 30 years ago, and you forget you've got them. But there's something in California and a lot of states called the Slayer Law, which prevents somebody from getting an inheritance if they murdered the person who gave them the money, whether it be life insurance or trust fund money, wherever it's coming from. So there are questions here if the Slayer Law is going to come into play, but that law says if you're convicted of murder. He hasn't been convicted yet. And so his attorneys are saying he needs it for his defense. He is not a convicted killer. And they are saying at least 50% of that money is already his, that before 2 years before the murders, that should have been his money. So they're saying the Slayer Law does not come into play. The family may feel differently once they begin litigating this with the probate court, but we'll see.
I wonder if the other two children received their inheritance or trust fund.
Yeah, we don't know. And they've been pretty quiet. They put out a couple of statements more recently and just talking about the loss of their parents. But they're not talking about this situation. But we know from these 150 pages in the filing that, and you can understand their side of cutting him off financially, that they say, hey, you allegedly killed mom and dad. We're not going to pay for your defense.
Yeah, very interesting. Alex, thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Mom, what do you always say?
There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer.
That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
From ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. 1 hour ago, the U.S. began launching strikes against Iran. Explosions reported in Bandar Abbas, Keshem, and Tariq. U.S. Central Command saying the mission is a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression, that the attacks are at the discretion and the direction of the commander-in-chief. And Iran just now saying it will respond to this. President Trump accusing Iran of downing a U.S. Apache helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz. About that, ABC's Louis Martinez.
What we have learned from U.S. officials is that a drone was involved. In other words, an Iranian drone brought down this Apache helicopter with a crew of 2 aboard. Now, what we are hearing from one U.S. official is that it is unclear whether there was an intent to actually bring down the drone, because the type of drone that was involved was one that is typically involved in the attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Now the voters will have their say. Primaries in 4 states today underway, and folks in Maine will decide whether to look past the controversies of Graham Plattner and make him the Democratic state nominee in the Senate. A bear attack at a popular California mountain community.
Mammoth police say they got a call at around 6 in the morning on Monday of a bear attack. When they arrived on scene, they found a man and woman badly hurt along with their dogs. They learned a woman heard her dogs barking and saw a black bear fighting one of her dogs outside their home. As she tried to stop the bear and dog fight, the bear turned on her, biting and clawing her. The man came outside with a hatchet and used a blunt end of it to strike the bear, critically injuring it and stopping the attack. The couple has significant injuries, and the bear was found badly injured and was euthanized. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Kalshi to crack down on insider trading, requiring employment verification for wagers on events tied to corporate performance or national security. You're listening to ABC News.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett. I'm a board-certified master arborist, and I've been caring for St. Louis trees for over 25 years. Today, I'm going to help you choose a tree care contractor. Here's how it's done, so pay close attention. First, call everyone you know who has ever done any type of outdoor work, including that cousin that used to sleep on your couch. Leave them all messages and wait around to see if they call back. Here's a hint, they won't. Now, post to all your social media that you are looking for recommendations for a good tree service. Now beware, because there will be hundreds of different recommendations. So you need to carefully go through each one, checking that they have the proper insurance, background checks, and even the slightest idea of what they're doing. Schedule a bunch of appointments, and when nobody shows up, get really frustrated and put the whole project off for another year. Or you could just call Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
"91 degrees at 5:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. After serving in the St. Louis County Police Department since 1995, Colonel Juan Cox has been promoted to chief. He replaces Kenneth Gregory, who announced his retirement in April. Freight Week, hosted by the St. Louis Regional Freightway, continued today. Local legislators and others toured the Melvin Price Locks and Dam in Alton and attended presentations highlighting the importance of the inland waterways and the legislative issues that affect the freight and supply chain industry. The Missouri Supreme Court has denied an appeal on a ruling that tweaked the ballot language on a proposed amendment to the state constitution that will eliminate the state income tax.
Chief Justice W. Brent Powell denied the state's appeal in an order posted Monday morning. This decision comes after the Missouri Western District Court of Appeals denied an attempt to take the amendment off the August ballot, but rewrote its language. The appeals court said in its decision that the rewrite clarified that a no vote would still allow for future changes to the tax system. The court also changed the ballot summary to note that the amendment would require local tax rate cuts without reducing funding for schools if sales tax revenue increases. Amendment 5 would allow Missouri to phase out the state income tax while increasing sales taxes to make up for the lost revenue. David Solomon, KTRS News.
The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for most of the region today, and the city of St. Louis is urging residents to take precautions this week because of predicted high temperatures and humidity that could quickly cause heat stress, exhaustion, and heat stroke. Dr. Timothy Havens is Director of Emergency Medicine at SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital, and he told First Alert 4 that the public needs to be prepared.
When this first heat wave, normal exercise or normal outdoor work that you would do will be more likely to cause heat-related illness than it will later in the summer when you've had time to acclimate. So you just want to be prepared for it so that you're not caught off guard.
At cooldowstlouis.org, you can find resources for older adults and people with disabilities who may need help with air conditioning and utility assistance. And the United Way of Greater St. Louis and MetroTix have launched a new partnership. Now, if you use MetroTix, you can donate $1, $5, or $10 to the United Way of St. Louis, which supports more than 150 local nonprofits and helps more than 1 million people each year across a 16-county region in both Missouri and Illinois. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. The Missouri Jobs Center and St. Charles County Port Authority will host 2 employer sessions this month that will show employers how to get help with recruitment, workforce development, and business growth. Now the markets, which are brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune into Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. At close, the Dow up 84 points at 50,870, NASDAQ down 250 at 25,678, and the S&P 500 down 19 at 7,386. Now let's check in with Paul for KTRS Sports and Traffic.
Steve, the Cards begin a series tonight with the Mets in New York. The Redbirds won 2 of 3 from the Mets back in the first week of the season. Tonight, Dustin May will take the hill against veteran right-hander Freddie Peralta. And we told you yesterday that Mizzou and SLU on the Hardwood is officially set for Friday, November 6th at Enterprise Center. For the Tigers, their non-conference slate now includes the Billikens and Illinois from downtown, Nebraska and Kansas in KC, and Marquette from Chicago. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. 270 South is busy from Olive down to Manchester. 44 West is congested between Tucker and 5564. The 70 East Express lanes are heavy between Tucker and the end of the express lanes. 64 East bogs down at 170. 64 West is crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and 64 East is congested from Illinois 111 to 157. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our forecast calls for mostly clear skies tonight, an overnight low in the mid-70s. Highs on Wednesday and Thursday around 95. At 8 minutes past 5 o'clock, we have 91 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport with a heat index of 102. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Summer has a way of bringing people together. Backyard barbecues, open patios, sunlight filling your favorite rooms. It's the season when your home takes center stage. And if your windows or doors are showing their age, there's never been a better time to refresh the spaces you enjoy most. Imagine more natural light in your favorite rooms, a patio door that glides effortlessly, and a home that's ready for everything summer brings. That's the difference beautifully crafted replacement windows and doors can make, adding comfort, style, and lasting value to the place you love most. Right now, buy one window or door and get one window or door 40% off. Call now to see how affordable summer comfort and style can be with flexible financing options available. From the moment you schedule your appointment, you'll experience the attention to detail and world-class service that's helped make Renewal by Andersen one of the most trusted names in home improvement. Schedule your free window and door diagnosis by June 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyanderson.com today. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit cantorinjurylaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You're listening to The Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Lawmakers in Washington are uniting in a historic demand for information on UFOs. Joe Khalil, senior congressional correspondent for News Nation, joins us with more on what's being called a pivotal moment. What led to this renewed call?
Well, if people have been sort of watching this, the White House and the Pentagon have started to release videos, images of what we now call UAP. People used to call them UFOs because they're essentially things that now the Pentagon and the White House admit are real. We have pictures, videos, radar. So we know that these are actual things. These aren't just random people who are claiming that they've seen things. These are, caught on military radar. We have our Air Force and Navy pilots seeing these things. And so now that the White House has released a first batch of these, this call from lawmakers and from people who've been on the front lines, activists, UAP activists, if you will, are basically calling on the White House to continue to release more. I think a lot of Americans, for them, who if they've not been paying attention to the issue itself, that release was really the first experience they've had with, this phenomenon. But for many of these activists, they want to see more. They've seen some of the videos that the White House put out already. So that's really what this was about. It was asking the president directly, the White House directly, to continue to move forward with, what they call disclosure, disclosing what the Pentagon, what the White House, what officials have known about this phenomenon really for decades, and they feel like it has been kept under wraps.
I know the group is also calling for the release of files related to alleged encounters with non-human beings, and that includes files related to a 1996 incident in Brazil. What did people see there? I've never heard of this incident.
So this was an incident in Brazil where you had people claiming to have had this encounter with two beings that were non-human. And it was basically one town in Brazil, and several people in the town claimed to have had this experience, seen something. These beings apparently were taken to a hospital. And so there's a whole hospital staff there, some of whom alleged that they also saw things, and then that it was covered up is the allegation. There was a documentary that was done about this. People can check that out. And just recently, the reason it's back in the news is because the former defense minister of the country at the time came forward and said, yeah, actually, this did happen. And the military in Brazil worked with the U.S. government at the time to cover it up. So I know, if you're listening to this and, you haven't really been following this phenomenon, that sounds crazy to you. I don't blame you for thinking that. But again, that is the incident. You have witnesses. You have a lot of people who claim this is what happened. And now you've got legitimately a government official in Brazil admitting the same. So there is a push to release information, documents, whatever the U.S. government might have or know about that incident. And we will see if the White House complies or not.
Who's pushing? Because if it's just you and me, Joe, we're not going to find much. But if like Chuck Schumer or some people in power in Washington are pushing this, that's a different story.
Yeah, and it's several members of Congress. It's U.S. House members who are on the House Oversight Committee. It's a committee that has the ability to subpoena records and people. And, this topic used to be very, very taboo. If you talked about it as a member, you would get laughed at, but there's more legitimacy around it now. Chuck Schumer, it's funny you bring him up. He actually did put his name behind a bill to demand the Pentagon release more of what he called NHI, which is non-human intelligence. So there are people now, and again, it's not just some guy on a farm seeing things. The witnesses and the advocates are people who are former Navy pilots, former Air Force pilots, former U.S. intelligence officers, CIA people who have since come forward and said there's more to this than most people realize, and that the government should be transparent with the public.
Speaking of, former intelligence officer Grush also said the government had recovered vehicles of non-human origin. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
His claim is that we see these things on radar. We have video of things flying in the air, and that the U.S. has actually recovered some crashed UAP, some crashed aircraft, and that the U.S. not only has decades has tried to reverse engineer them as well. And he also claimed that some of them, and this is the most out there claim I know, some of them have had what he called biologics inside, which would be remains of body parts that were non-human in origin. He himself hasn't seen these things, but in his capacity as an intelligence officer, he said that others came to him as sort of a inspector general thing, kind of blowing the whistle. And he said there were dozens of people claiming to have taken part in these reverse engineering programs that he says were done illegally. Congress did not know about them. They were passing bills, money, and then that money that was supposed to go to X or Y instead were being funneled into these programs illegally. So that's why many people came to him, he says, and blew the whistle. And then he ultimately went public with those claims.
Well, now that brings up a whole raft of other questions. If this is, outside of Congress, who's running the show over there? Is this a military operation? Is the president or the president at the time? Have the presidents been abridged on this stuff? Now, hey, Joe, now you got us really going.
It's a fascinating topic for sure.
But Steven Spielberg was on CBS Sunday Morning over the weekend. Obviously, Disclosure Day is coming out in theaters this weekend or next. And he said at the end of the conversation, I mean, he's made a lot of movies about aliens. And he said, if you're asking me what I believe, he thinks that they have made contact and they are here, or that they've possibly always been here. So,
yes, and I've heard some of his interviews. I was never a UFO guy, if you will, but covering Congress, as Congress has gotten more serious about it, I have, because I've been forced to cover it and learn the issue. And what I can tell you is, as I listen to Steven Spielberg answer questions, it's clear he is listening to the very same people that we heard from today at the Capitol who are making these claims, who say that there is evidence there. And some of that evidence has been presented. I mean, we were at a place a few years ago, 2017, where the Pentagon was denying that these UFOs, UAPs existed at all. And then, lo and behold, a few years later, we have video and visual evidence of it's pictures, it's these things on radar. And you can go right now on the White House's website that they've put forward. You can actually see on radar these things that we know they're there. We just don't know what they are. We don't know how they're moving. The way they move sort of defies the U.S.'s capabilities. We do not have, our fastest jets cannot move in the ways that these things are moving. So it raises a lot of questions. Now that it's a given established fact that these things are real, what are they? We don't know the answer to that question. And that is why a lot of lawmakers are saying these things are in our airspace and they fly over our military installations. We got to know what they are because it's a national security question.
Yeah, and great point. I feel like we should also point out that lawmakers stressed that it's not just about the potential evidence, but a question of where the Pentagon is spending the money and whether it's avoiding congressional oversight.
Exactly. And that is, you don't have to be a believer in, non-human intelligence. Right. You don't have to be a believer there. But if Congress is appropriating money for a weapons package and they find out later, actually that money was diverted for some covert operation, some covert program, they cut off lawmakers because they want to know what they're appropriating money for. Many of them are okay with not fully being told what money goes to because they understand to an extent the CIA has to keep some secrecy. But they are allowed to ask the CIA to come into a classified setting, no phones, no recording devices, and explain to them, hey, give us some idea of what's going on so we know what we're funding. And when they feel like they're being lied to, it's a big problem. And that's a problem, we've heard people like AOC make that claim. We've heard people as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene make that claim. It's actually a very nonpartisan issue in that sense.
Wow.
Yeah, and even if it's not aliens, it's something that, you can't have a rogue Pentagon just spending taxpayer money on secret projects. But this might be interesting. This could be like the whole Al Capone thing. The whole thing's blown open by the accountants.
Yeah. If I can add one more thing, I interviewed a few years ago Senator Marco Rubio before he was Secretary of State. He was the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee. So he is privy to information and briefings and stuff that I will never see and you will never see. And basically, he confirmed that he was hearing from some whistleblowers the very same things that David Grush put forward, which is that there are these reverse engineering programs and that these things are real. And what he told me was, look, either a lot of people whom the U.S. trusts with its top national secrets and the highest clearances are all being fed misinformation and this same crazy lie, which is a huge problem and we should investigate that, or there is truth to this, and we should also investigate that. And he put it to me that way and said, it's one of the two scenarios. So either way, it's worth exploring this UFO, UAP topic, just because to figure out what is in our airspace. And it was that moment for me when Senator Rubio told me that I started to really take the topic more seriously. And as Secretary of State now, I'd love to hear from him again on it. I'm sure he's busy with other things, Iran and Cuba and Venezuela and all the rest. But it was just a fascinating moment for me. And it's one reason, News Nation certainly takes the topic seriously as well.
Yeah, Joe Cahill, senior congressional correspondent for News Nation. Thank you so much for keeping us in the loop with this. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
I don't think that we're going to travel to outer space and hold hands with these...
With an alien?
But Colette can take you to a lot of places. And
never say never, Heidi.
I will say, I have heard Iceland described as
like a
the
moonscape.
moon. Yeah, and we're going with Colette in search of Iceland's magical northern lights. We're going to leave in October, and we're going to spend a day in Reykjavik. And I just watched a whole hour on Iceland. Rick Steves?
Rick Steves.
And I was excited. I was really excited. And then I watched this whole hour, which you can see on YouTube, Rick Steves Europe, and it's the Iceland episode. And it was amazing. The town is so charming, and we're going to have a full day and a half there. Then we're going to check out the steaming lava fields. You got the massive glacier sculpted mountains and valleys. And this is what I'm really looking forward to, too. All the waterfalls, but we're not just going to step back and look at the waterfalls. We're actually going to take a walk and get a unique view of the waterfalls from behind it. There's the black volcanic sand beaches and, of course, the blue lagoon. And then, on top of all of that, each night we'll go in search of those magical northern lights with a guide to help us through. Colette handles all the details, the flights, the meals, the hotels, those experiences like the tours I mentioned. Your only job, join me and have the time of your life. You can learn more on our website, ktrs.com. Better yet, call Altair Travel, and they can kind of walk you through what it's going to cost and all the other details. But it's time to sign up. You don't want to miss this trip. I am looking so forward to it, and I think you will have the time of your life. Altair Travel's number is 314-968-9600.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
Are you looking for a deck? I am. And you know who I turn to? Outdoor Living and Pat Leahy. They've been a sponsor for a long time, and they've done some other projects for me, but this one's the big one. It's going to have metal framing, composite decking, and when it's all said and done, he's going to put a 50-year warranty on it. Not because I'm his spokesperson for all these years, but because I am a customer. Outdoor Living takes care of St. Louis. So if you're looking for a deck that will survive the heat and the winter and the sun and everything else, Outdoor Living, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. Outdoor Living, or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Jill Farmer here with Dan Head, the owner of Patriot Build Sunrooms and Luna Builds. Both companies really offer a lot for customers, don't they?
Combining the capabilities of Patriot and Luna allows us to create any outdoor space you imagine. Essentially, if you can dream it, we can build it. From the highest level custom finishes to more user-friendly projects, our amazing craftsmen will make it a reality and add value to your home.
Call 314-822-3232 for a free consultation or come visit their Kirkwood showroom online at patriotbuildsstl.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties. I want to buy your home. Any property, any condition, and always as is. I will pay top dollar with no contingencies and no inspections. You walk away with cash. So don't waste time and money making repairs and paying real estate commissions. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. Or go to robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
Don't miss Straight Talk on Retirement with Jeff and Aaron Lapidus every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Join this dynamic father-daughter duo every Saturday morning for an entertaining and intimate understanding of the retirement needs you may soon be facing. From decades of financial planning expertise combined with a deep knowledge of healthcare benefits, Aaron and Jeff will give you the Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on the Big 550. KTRS.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I was throwing a party for the twins and had custom invites and a banner printed at Staples. And that's when I saw Party City is now at Staples.
Party City? No way!
Yep. So now Staples has all your printing needs and everything you need for a party.
Everything times 2.
Yeah, and now at Staples, save 40% on custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, banners, and more.
Big news! Party City is now at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app. In 613, exclusions apply.
I trust Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis with my home when it matters most. They are the local experts who know our area best. For a limited time, get 20% off Pella projects. Call 833-87-PELLA or visit Pella.com/radio to learn more. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
And now, KTRS weather.
I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch with your First Alert weather. We're going to continue to track a First Alert weather day lasting from today through Thursday as we're tracking the heat index up to 107 degrees this afternoon, by Wednesday up to 104, and by Thursday potentially up to 105 degrees for the feels-like temperature. Scattered showers and storms possible this morning, by mid-morning pushing out. Then this afternoon seeing a few isolated chances. Some strong to severe storms going to be possible Wednesday evening and Thursday evening. We'll continue to watch that closely. For the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch for the Big 550, KTRS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550, KTRS.
It is 5:28. Captain Paul, how's traffic moving along?
Well, Heidi, no accidents, just some slow traffic. 270 South is busy from Ladue Road down to Manchester. 44 West is congested between Tucker and 5564. 64 East bogs down from Clayton Road to McKnight. 64 West is crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker. And 64 East is congested from Illinois 111 to 157. This traffic report is brought to you by the Quarry at Crystal Springs Golf Course. The Quarry at Crystal Springs delivers a convenient and affordable golf course that is a true test of any player's game. 4 sets of tees will allow players of all abilities to choose the course length that best suits their enjoyment. Visit them today. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Lawmakers in Washington are... That's the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, we're talking Knicks basketball, baby.
Hold on, it's day 2. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. Forgive me, if you will, Michael. If you watched the NBA playoff game last night at Madison Square Garden, you probably saw a few famous faces. Who determines who gets those courtside seats? Michael McCarthy, senior reporter for Front Office Sports, joins us to explain. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
So I saw Timothée Chalamet, Tina Fey. Do they pay for those seats?
Yeah, you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting some celebrity.
True.
The answer is sometimes. Some of those courtside seats are controlled by the Garden, and they comp the biggest celebrities, so they don't pay at all.
Huh.
They get those seats for free. And they get access to this near mythical suite called Suite 200, where it's top shelf booze. I mean, they're just wine and dined like, pashas. On the other hand, some people do pay for their seats. Spike Lee has been very open about it. He pays thousands of dollars for his seats per game. He's probably spent millions over the years. Other seats are bought by Hollywood talent agencies, big studios, sponsors. So when you saw a lot of the celebrities last night, they was probably sitting in seats that were either comped for them by the Garden or given to them by some rich Knicks season ticket holder.
So who picks who the celebrities are? Because Ben Stiller, I mean, Timothée Chalamet is hot right now, but Ben Stiller's been behind the camera a lot. He's not really in the focal point. Tracy Morgan, he's got a lot of money from that Walmart settlement, but I guess he's got a new TV show out.
I think he's doing okay.
There's several points about it. One, it's invite only, right? You could call up the Garden and try to, talk your way into the seats. Good luck. Usually, they pick out who they want. And first and foremost, are you a Knicks fan? Are you a legit rooter of the team? They don't want somebody sitting in one of their, camera-friendly seats with a Spurs jersey on, period. Second, are you willing to play ball? This is a quid pro quo. You want free seats and, get your face out there in front of millions of people, while you're launching your movie? Well, you better be prepared to scratch the Garden's back, too. That means agreeing to appear on the Jumbotron. That means shooting promotional videos. That means supporting the Garden of Dreams charity. Some people are willing to do that. In fact, most celebrities are very willing to do it. Others, like Woody Allen, are not.
Very interesting.
Wait, what happened with Woody?
Well, the Woodman was hanging out in Suite 200 for years. And as we all know, Woody Allen is a crazy Knicks fan going back to the 60s and 70s. And they asked him, apparently, according to page 6, to shoot a promotional video. And he has this standing thing where he just doesn't do that. He only shoots his own movies, and that's it. So they told him, all right, Woody, thanks, bye. Don't come to Suite 200 anymore.
Banned. Not invited.
Yeah. And they also did it with a couple of supermodels. They were given free seats for a game, and the Garden likes you to stay in that seat. They don't want empty seats courtside. It doesn't look good. It's not Yankee Stadium where, the seats behind home plate are empty all the time. They want they want a famous face in that seat. So these two thought, hey, it was a blowout game, we'll just leave. And then they came back and they asked for Ranger tickets, and the Garden blew them off.
Very interesting. We're talking to Michael McCarthy, senior reporter for Front Office Sports. Will we see the same people in those seats at the next game at Madison Square Garden?
I think you're always going to see, the core group of Knicks fans who were there, night in, night out. Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan. But, the beautiful people come out for the biggest events. I mean, Robert Kraft isn't at your usual Knicks game. He was there last night. Mike Bloomberg isn't at your usual Knicks game. He was there last night. So you have, all these powerhouse types who showed up at the Garden because they know that right now the world's most famous arena is the place to see and be seen.
Yeah.
And when they go to the Jumbotron, we weren't in the arena last night, but they go to the Jumbotron in between plays or in timeouts. And is Timothée Chalamet waving and saying, "Hi, everybody"?
Yes.
Is that part of playing ball?
That is part of playing ball. Look, this is smart marketing by the Knicks, right? The Knicks have the most expensive tickets in the NBA, and they play in one of the oldest arenas of the NBA. So what do you do to make fans pay those exorbitant prices for tickets? You give them the privilege of being in the same building as Taylor Swift. You paid thousands of dollars to bring your family down from Westchester, but you know what? Your daughter can say she was in the room with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Are there any other teams that do it this way?
Well, I think the Lakers are obviously the most prominent. For decades they've had Jack Nicholson and their own version of Celebrity Row. But, it's organic. You need an arena like the Garden, a famous arena in the country's biggest city, in the country's media center, to really make it happen. Let's take a look at last year's finals, right, with Oklahoma City. I mean, are they really going to have a Celebrity Row in Oklahoma City? No offense to Oklahoma City, but how many celebrities live in Oklahoma City? and our Thunder season
Fans,
ticket holders
yeah.
who go there. Yeah, who go there every game. It just doesn't happen that often. Whereas New York and LA, you've got dozens, hundreds, maybe.
All right, so Mariska Hargitay and Chris Maloney, they are a famous Law and Order SVU. The show's been on the airs for 20 years. But can we infer that maybe Jim Dolan, owner of the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, is a Law and Order fan?
I think you can. And speaking of Law and Order, I hear that these celebrities are on their best behavior in Suite 200 when Jim Dolan shows up. Obviously, he's the ultimate arbiter. He's the ultimate curator of the Garden's VIP list. And if you get on his negative side, as Ethan Hawke did, by criticizing his coaching hires, you'll be told very politely, hey, go root for the Nets across the river.
Ethan Hawke told Bill Simmons that he was cut from Celebrity Row because he questioned Jim Dolan's coaching hires. So
that's right.
Mind your P's and Q's. I saw on the broadcast Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback of the New York Giants, was in a couple rows behind. Derek Jeter stood up, and you could see his head. They weren't on Celebrity Row, but they were a couple rows back. Are those seats controlled by Jim Dolan, or were those people paying for those seats?
Again, it's a mix. I mean, you got to think there's two kinds of Celebrity Row. There's the official Celebrity Row, right? That's the 6 to 8 seats mid-court that the Garden totally controls, that they give to the most famous A-lister who's at the game. Think Tom Hanks, Madonna, somebody like that. Then you've got the lowercase Celebrity Row, which is these dozens of camera-friendly seats in the second or third row, or in a suite, or just or on the baseline that the Garden also controls, and they give those to the B-listers. So, there's a pecking order. If you're the A-lister, you're going to be, center court, and everybody thinks they're an A-lister. So even if they're getting free tickets, they may bitch and moan if they're on the baseline.
Yeah.
So true. Michael, thank you so much for keeping us in the know on this most interesting Celebrity Row.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting Front Office Sports.
Absolutely. There are a lot of celebrities at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and I'm talking about the therapist and the surgeons and the doctors and the nurses, but I'm also talking about the janitors and the people who are in the cafeteria. They all work for one common goal, and that is to hopefully get every child in there healthy. That's what they've been doing from the very beginning when they opened those doors. And in the very beginning, they knew, look, we can't sustain ourselves just on the care of kids. We have to do something else. So they started the Children's Foundation, the Cardinal Glennon Children's Foundation, and that can truly make a significant impact. It's where you can make a donation. A lot of people see the commercials for other hospitals, some of them not even in St. Louis, that are constantly asking for donations, and they're making sure that that kids, don't have to pay a dime. Well, if a kid's parent doesn't have insurance and they still need care and they go to Cardinal Glennon, guess what? They're going to get it. And so if you're making donations somewhere else, maybe think about changing that over. It's what I've done because I used to do that with St. Jude for years, and it's a great hospital. But we have one right here in our backyard with Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It is a true treasure, and so many of those programs and services wouldn't be possible without donations from people like you and me. So you can learn more. You can read about some of the fantastic things that Cardinal Glennon has added. You can see and read some of the great stories about some of the kids who have overcome great things. You can do all of that at glennon.org. That's also where you can make a donation if you feel so obliged.
No labels, no limits, just pride. Celebrate individuality, identity, and self-expression all month with the Big 550 KTRS, supporting and celebrating diversity.
Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax reduction strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them keep more of what they earn, reduce their tax liability, and stop overpaying their federal and state income taxes. Hi, I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group and the author of the 2 #1 best-selling books on taxes, Keep What's Yours and Keeping What's Yours. We're celebrating 50 years helping small businesses grow and thrive by minimizing the financial risk to their businesses, reducing their tax liability, and growing their wealth using strategic tax planning. The Fed is hinting that inflation and interest rates will continue to rise in the months ahead. If you're relying on investment advice from someone who isn't familiar with the tax strategy and feel like you might be paying more than your fair share in taxes, give us a call, 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com. Again, the number is 636-394-5524.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
When you go and get your car washed, do you really care which car wash you go to? Yes, because not all car washes are created equal. Country Club Car Wash is the local family-owned and family-operated car wash since 1989. All these other ones that are popping up, they're all run by out-of-town hedge funds. Keep it local, keep it great. Touchless car washes, no brushes, inside and out. 5 area locations, Country Club Car Wash, or cccwstl.com.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. We are very busy buying, selling, and trading some very impressive luxury and performance vehicles. I have bought a lot of great cars and motorcycles from Big 550 listeners this month and need more. If you have a super clean performance or luxury vehicle, what about a very low-mile everyday car? Classic car? Hard-to-find motorcycle, entire collection? I'm interested in buying if so. Hop on our site and submit your vehicle, MasterCarsInc.com. We'll reach out right away. It's okay if you still owe money. We'll make the payoff on your behalf and cut a check for your equity. Very simple, all local, all face-to-face. We buy, sell, and trade every day.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
It's summertime in St. Louis, and the Big 550 is ready to go.
Keeping you company to share a laugh and make some summer memories. Thank you for taking the Big 550 with you wherever you go.
Download the mobile app, stream online, and watch us live on our KTRS YouTube channel.
Live, local, homegrown. We are the Big 550 KTRS.
Depend on it.
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 You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday in entertainment, but the 79th Annual Tony Awards took place on Sunday night with Pink as the host. Did you watch any of it?
I didn't see a second.
Okay, well, she did an amazing job throughout, but the opening number was probably the most spectacular, and as you might expect, she flew in as Peter Pan. Then over 170 Broadway performers joined her for an opening number rendition of Lady Marmalade that had been changed up, so it was calling out different actors. And then she did a funny little bit with Doogie Howser.
Yeah,
Neil Patrick Harris.
So I had asked Bob last week. I said, "Why isn't Neil Patrick Harris doing it? Is he busy?"
No, he was there in the audience
as for the intro. I could totally see Pink doing Peter Pan.
She also did a number from Chicago, and a lot of people are guessing maybe we'll see her in one of those roles, which she'd be fantastic.
Has she done any acting?
No. Not that I know of, and definitely not on Broadway. And she kind of made that part of her bit, saying, you're probably wondering, why is this pop star here? And then she proved that she could definitely do it. It was a great night, lots of fantastic speeches. And Laurie Metcalf, who actually grew up here in the Metro East, won a Tony. So she was Roseanne's sister.
She was Roseanne's sister. She was the mom in Lady Bird.
Yeah. So she is so talented. Speaking of actors, John Cryer and Andrew McCarthy did not like each other during the making of Pretty in Pink. He said, I thought he was aloof and just blank. He told Page Six in a recent exclusive interview.
John Cryer did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He said, we had all kinds of issues.
I think the weirdest person on that set would have been James Spader.
Oh,
What
I
a
interviewed
creep.
him once. He is very interesting.
Is he weird in person?
I would say it depends on which day, because there were a couple times that we were there in New York and we were on the set of Blacklist, and then he was also doing like a panel, and on the panel he seemed very odd, and then when he was doing interviews he was okay. But yeah, intimidating is the word.
I think Frank and Jill just did Pretty in Pink as one of their rewatch things recently. I didn't really care for that movie. Of all the John Hughes movies,
16 Candles was probably my favorite.
number one.
Yeah.
Probably number one. Oh, Ferris Bueller,
Yeah,
do you
but Pretty in
count?
Pink I think is just more, probably my age, more relatable.
It's way too angsty.
Oh my gosh.
And apparently they filmed the original ending she got with Ducky in the end, and everybody hated it.
And they redid it.
And they redid
I've
it.
read that. Ariana Grande and her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater have called it quits. They've reportedly been quietly broken up for several months, but are still friends. And I wasn't here, but on June 2nd, Scott Pelley was fired from CBS's 60 Minutes after nearly 4 decades with the network. I don't know if you guys talked about it or not.
Yep, we did.
In an interview with the New York Times published a couple days ago, he alleged there hasn't been any kind of explanation for his dismissal. The longtime journalist also accused editor-in-chief Barry Weiss of injecting falsehoods and bias into politically sensitive stories.
I'm going to guess that's the reason why he got fired.
Yeah.
Because he accused her of that to her face in that meeting. So, I don't think anybody's wondering why he got fired.
No, but I think that we need people like him to make sure that the news is honest. I mean, this is, and now he's fired. And so you look at Leslie Stahl and some of her colleagues to kind of continue this fight. But she calls the 60 Minutes firings the hardest chapter of her career. In a memo released on Friday, Stahl and her 60 Minutes colleagues, Bill Whitaker and John Wertheim, addressed whether or not they would remain on the show amid the firings. We want to express how sorry we are that these principled, fair, and honest journalists were treated so shabbily with such indecency, they said in part. But we have decided to stay on. We feared that our returning might be construed as an endorsement of the existing power structure. That is simply categorically not the case. They added, we don't want to see 60 Minutes die. We have been grieving because this whole mess has wounded and damaged the broadcast.
Where did they release that statement?
Yes.
Or they didn't do that on 60 Minutes?
No, they released a statement, the three of them together.
Anderson already announced that he was leaving. That was
Yes.
months ago.
It was.
So I wonder, do they kind of huddle together last week and call the ones that were fired? Do they call Steve Croft, who quit a couple of years ago but has still been championing the news magazine show? Do they call them and say, should we stay on or not? Should we all solidarity walk out?
I think
or do you guys mind?
Three of them that are still
out?
on probably had a conversation about it. I doubt that they reached out to people who have left, because it's one of those things when, at least in my experience, people leave and then they kind of poo-poo what everybody is doing there still. Like, it's kind of like, okay, you leave, move on, but don't come back and tell me how to do X, Y, and Z. 20 years ago, I don't think you mentioned this one, Cars was released, which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
As for TV tonight, you've got the Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. America's Got Talent is also on. And if you're looking for some birthdays today, there are quite a few. Natalie Portman is 45. Johnny Depp, 63. Michael J. Fox is 65. And as you mentioned, Donald Duck, 92. See how I set you up?
Yeah.
That's your evening entertainment report here on the Big 550 KTRS. It is about 9 minutes before 6 o'clock. Captain Paul, how's our traffic home?
Well, we do have some good news, Heidi. An accident on 64 East at McKnight has just been cleared, but there is residual congestion back to Lindbergh. There's a stalled vehicle on 64 West at Lindbergh, blocking the left lane with stop-and-go traffic back to 170. 270 South is busy from 64 to Doherty Ferry. 44 West congested between Tucker and 5564. And 64 East is busy from Illinois 111 to 157. This traffic report is brought to you by the Rockwood School District. Are you looking for a new part-time or full-time job opportunity? Consider Rockwood School District, with openings for custodians, cafeteria workers, and groundskeepers, with great benefits, competitive pay, and flexible hours. Apply online at rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Jill Farmer for my friends at Patriot Build Sunrooms and Luna Builds. Combining the capabilities of these two excellent companies allows them to create any outdoor space you imagine. It's going to add value to your home, and you're going to love it. This makes them unique in St. Louis. Essentially, if you can dream it, they can build it. From the highest level custom finishes to more user-friendly projects, their craftsmen will make it a reality. Give Patriot a call for a free design consultation, 314-822-3232, or visit their Kirkwood showroom online, patriotbuildsstl.com.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress, but one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
All eyes will be on Mizzou men's basketball this year, with one of the nation's top recruiting classes coming to the Zoo. You don't want to be watching from the couch while Mizzou Arena is rocking, so grab your black and gold and experience it. Go to MUTigers.com/MBBTIX to get your name on the season ticket request list for next season. Don't wait. Visit MUTigers.com/MBBTIX today. MIZ.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. We offer the largest selection of Amish-made furniture in the St. Louis area, plus quality living room furniture from Flex Steel and Smith Brothers. We carry top-quality mattresses from world-famous brands like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Chatham & Wells. Shop our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Julius Krasanik here, celebrating 54 years in this industry. My family owns Wholesale Siding Depot. That's WSDepot.com. Our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, and door experience. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
Tired of companies that like to apply pressure to sell you high-priced fiberglass or wood windows? We offer the Anderson Fibrex family of windows in styles and colors, including black, at wholesale prices. What are you waiting for? We sell truckloads of siding, windows, and doors from CertainTeed, Anderson, Viwinco, Provia, and other major brands, all at wholesale prices, while offering a free contractor referral service for your expert installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
If it's time to replace your windows and doors, choose Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis. Pella's trusted local experts work in your area and within your budget, backed by the most preferred window and door brand by homeowners. For a limited time, get 20% off Pella projects. Call 833-87-PELLA or visit Pella.com/radio. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Study of homeowner perceptions of leading national brands. Study commissioned by Pella 2023.
Is it time to make a change with your bank? Hi, it's Julie Buck for Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution with 2 locations, and they've been around since 2005 with a mission to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services. Here's their website. It's triadbanking.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550. KTRS.
All right, let's wrap this Tuesday up with a couple randoms.
The ancient Romans in Pompeii had near perfect dental health due to a low sugar diet with fruits and vegetables and a local water source rich in fluorine.
Really?
So, how about that?
So fluoride works.
Yes, apparently it does.
Mm-hmm. You guys, that does it for us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this hot Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully Bob will be back with us tomorrow if he's feeling a little bit better, and hopefully you'll join us as well. It all starts at 3 o'clock, and until then, see if you can put a smile on somebody's face.
The Big 550 KTRS is your headquarters for the summer of soccer in St. Louis. Get scores and match previews with our daily CarShield Sportsplex World Cup updates, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri and Ragazzi's. Tune into the press box in the Big Sports Show to hear from local soccer dignitaries like Bill McDermott, Ty Keogh, Chris Klein, Mike